Hey guys, and hey guys, and welcome. Um, that's about as far as I'm going to go. How you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing, Mike?
All right, son. Been waiting for about 24 hours for this one, so it's not going to be for the faint of heart. I can promise you that. But we'll hop into that here shortly. Let a few people jump on here and get a few shares and stuff out, and then we'll roll with it. But it's been interesting. I mean, it's basically across the board, it's been interesting. But more importantly, it's been really, really interesting here locally, and that's where we're going to kick things off at here tonight. It's more on a local level. If I can get my deer cameras to quit going off, never fails.
That may be a good thing. You might be
Yeah,
setting yourself up for a big harvest.
well, we can only hope. We.
So you're saying the prices of food is so high that you're going to have to do something.
Changes don't come, we all gonna be digging in the dumpsters out here.
Yeah, I would agree
Well, I
with that.
mean, digging in the
100%.
dumpsters is not always a bad thing.
No.
We were talking earlier today about headed down to some of the rich places and trying to get some of their furniture that they throw away. Aaron Harnett says, "Will this episode be featuring the hot wings?" No, luckily not. That was last week.
Thank God we're past that weekend.
That was. I can honestly say that was rough. That was one of the roughest that I've had to endure. I'm sure you would agree with me that number 8 of that 10 would probably be the worst.
You know, I actually thought that when I went home and within the next 3 or 4 days, I had no after effects at all. But I'm going to say this: I had that taste from that number 8
It's awful.
for about
It was awful.
I don't know,
So
about
you don't
four.
want a bottle for Christmas?
No, I do
We're gonna
not
get
want. I
you.
do not. I do
You already
not.
got your Christmas gift, Matthew.
Listen, I do not want a bottle of that stuff. I would not envy anybody that
You
had
don't.
to quite possibly eat 10 wings with that sauce
Well, I
on it.
did see this morning that Stone Cold Steve Austin actually completed the challenge. He's the most on the original show, over on the actual show, and that's which he's a tough sob, as anybody ever watched.
I agree with that.
So he was able to endure it, but now they do it a little differently over there than what we did it. They literally bake the wings in this
Well,
stuff.
see, that's what I thought.
Then you take the baked wing that's already
Dip it
done
in.
and then dip it into the, so you're getting like double
Oh my
the
God!
heat. So we were just.
I can only imagine what that would do to somebody.
Aaron said, "Let me know the next time. I'll hook you all up." Well, also, Larry Lewis said he's got some really, really, really hot stuff that he makes that we need to try. And I'm thinking,
I don't know why they think we need to try this.
I'm not even a fan of eating hot stuff, so it's like when
Now, I'll be honest with you. Those wings were as good of wings as I've had in a
they were
long
really
time.
good wings.
If you put 25 or 30 of those wings in front of me and I'm hungry, I could eat every one of them.
I never thought of that.
No
I
waste of
should have.
time.
I should have had them deliver a bunch of wings up here and make you think we was going to put some hot
You
stuff.
probably would, knowing
You
you.
know?
You know, I got volunteered by you to do that, and
Yeah, but I could go. I need to pull back that episode exactly where you agreed, to do that.
no,
But
it was all good fun. It was good fun. You know, my memories of that are, when Walker took a bite of that one, and next thing you know, he's like, "Here it comes, it's coming." And then next thing you know, it kicked in, and it didn't go away for a while.
Yeah, it definitely came. That's a fact.
You know, some people can eat that hot stuff like that, and it never bother them at all, never phase them a bit. And then other people can take a little bit of that, and son, they can have a chemical reaction or some type of reaction to that. And I don't know.
I about had a chemical reaction. All right, I don't know if that's what you call it or not, but it was rough. And he's actually now looking for the next 2 participants for next month, as that will become a monthly.
Is that he came by here wanting us to do it again.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that cat? Find somebody
Well, now,
else.
like I told him yesterday when I talked to him, I said, "Here's the way it works, buddy. You're the host. The host has to do it every single time. So if you have 30 different 30 different groups, that come down there, you're doing it 30 more
Yeah,
times.
it'd be tough.
So it's like,
Extremely tough.
which by then, you may be able to be a little bit used to it.
I don't know if you could ever get used to some of that though. I mean, it would take
If I had
extreme.
to get used to number 8, I'd never get used to it. I'd never eat anything
I can't
again.
imagine having something baked in that.
No,
And
I
then
mean
having to
that's
turn around and double dip. Oh,
that's crazy.
you're the glutton for punishment. That's all you're doing there. That's all you're doing.
Seemed like we've run most of our audience off. They literally just got up and left. I don't know.
They
I
start
guess
talking about food prices, and man, they
they
just
start talking about food prices. I guess they went and started eating. I don't know what exactly
tore
they're
up,
up
son,
to.
tore up.
But anyway, like I've said, for the last 24 hours, son. I mean, last night for about 3 hours overnight, I laid in bed coming up with the proper way to start this and the way to bring it up. And at times I'd get aggravated, and other times I'd get excited, and then other times I'd get sick, and then and it's like so. I'm just gonna, I guess, just tackle it the only way they are to tackle it, and basically just come out and say, I'm going to give you a little bit of a headline before I dive into it, is how it really makes me feel. But now Aaron Arnett is definitely says he will hook us up. So as long as he brings his cowboy hat, do you see his picture?
I did.
Yeah, as long as he brings his cowboy hat. And but I'm going to say this: I'd rather be hated for who I am than be loved for who I'm not. So that's how I'm going to start this tonight, because I'm not here. Probably not going to hold back on a lot of things. Somebody was warned about 24 hours ago, and they decided to still be here. So here we go. You ain't supposed to be here at all.
That's exactly right.
You ain't supposed to be here at all. So basically, I basically want to tell. First of all, before I jump into the big part of it, I want to tell everybody about what I really do. And basically, what I do is I'm an independent journalist. So what that means is I work for myself. Basically, I do my own thing. I cover my own stories. I don't have no overhead. I don't have nobody breathing down my neck like if you work for a company or something like that. And a lot of people, when they see me and Matthew sitting on here, they think, well, there's those two crazy guys that make stuff up, and they're the conspiracy theorists, and we don't want to watch that. We don't believe anything they say. But I want to come out first and say this is a show. This is a episodic show, which means if you watch Yellowstone, something on TV, you watch each week to see what the next episode's going to be. This is one episode, one entity of the things I do. I wore the old classic Michael Jeviden Show shirt tonight. That is a podcast, so that is another entity in itself. This, I call it the Conspiracy Realist Live, because it's us. Actually had someone today say that old fart right there is telling the truth. So, which we'll get into that a little bit later, but
We'll get into it later. I got a
I don't want to
lot of
I
good
don't
stuff.
really want to use the word old fart, because
I am old.
all those memories have come back from last week when I had all that hot stuff. But
I
anyway,
am old. I agree with that.
but I do like to work along with different types of media outlets when it comes to like TV and newspapers, different things, and like that. I do a lot of things with local organizations, and when they ask for help, basically coming out and saying that I'm just a conspiracy theorist that makes stuff up, and that's why you don't want to watch. And that seems to be the problem that we have here in Morgan County, is because everybody only sees one entity. So if you flip on Sirius XM and you hear a music that you don't want to listen to, do you turn it off? No, you turn it to the next channel. If you turn it over to a TV show and it's not an episode you want to watch, you turn it to the next channel. So my point being, if you don't want to hear the things that are said on this show, I've got other things that I do. I've worked with local organizations bringing stories. I do documentaries. I do a lot of different things. My platform, was my platform basically allows me to cover anything from local, regional, anywhere I really want to go with it. And basically, you're going to hear this a lot tonight. It's going to be called "With a Click of a Button," because a lot of people, out to a lot of people that have picked out on different other media outlets. So basically, what that means is it's just going to mean when I click a button, whether it be here or anything else, I click a button and it goes out to media outlets. So just because you don't agree with what me and him say here on our show doesn't mean that you might not like something else I done. We had almost 7,000 views on me and him dying last Friday, or Friday before last, I guess now. But going down there and doing that. So, I do fun things, I do serious things. I do the flood coverage. I love to do a lot of different stuff. But, here's where it gets interesting. So a lot of people think that I'm nothing, that I'm a nobody, that I'm nothing, that nothing that I say ever is going to get out. And I'm sorry, John, but let's talk about the water company real quick, and then we'll get back into it. But hang on, let me get a date real fast, because this was in the paper this week, and I know John's ears are burnt. But on February 22nd edition of the Licking Valley Courier, it was brought up about the 41% increase. It took one Facebook post and one 10-minute video, and it started it all with a click of a button. So what happens? Next thing you know, you got 5 resigned board members and 1 resigned GM, and then you find a lot of corruption, a lot of money being found, a lot of different things. Are we going to take full credit for that? No, we brought it to you. We brought it out. We never mentioned no names. At that time, we had no idea. But the thing about it is, when I click the button, it goes out to the other platforms. The other platforms start looking into it. Now here's where we're at 7 months later. The disturbing part is just last week when that article came out, and for John and them's sake, I bet it was a long weekend because people were complaining because the PSC, a couple of months ago, did approve a 21% emergency rate increase that starts in October. We already knew this. We've already been told this. But the problem with that is a lot of people didn't know it. I saw people on Facebook saying, well, if I knew we was able to make these complaints, we would have done it. Well, that's where I'm kind of confused, because it's like, how did you not know? It was brought to you here. It was brought to you on Facebook post. It was brought to you almost on a weekly basis in the local newspaper. So, I have to ask myself, were you under a rock the whole time? Because it's been wide open. It's been wide open. But then where that leads me to is what I was talking about previously. They look at me and you, and if I come on here, which I did numerous times, and I say, here's what's going on up the water company, what I get is, that's just them crazy guys making up stories, and they're on there talking about this and that, and they're conspiracy theorists. Once again, where are you at? I've known for 2 months that the rate increase was starting in October. Why? Because I'm out here on the streets and I'm in these board meetings and I'm listening to this stuff. That's why. I'm talking to people. I'm learning things as it goes along. I'm being told things, all over the place. Comments are not working on my end for some reason. We're seeing you, Victoria. We're seeing you on this side. Are you all seeing those comments? Okay. But I'm going to get back to the water company in a minute. I just wanted to use that as an example because, like I'm saying, with the click of a button, things will happen. So now I want to get over to my good buddies over at the Board of Education. And that's where I think
Morton County Board of
Are
Education.
you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. So, of course, I guess it's no secret by now, obviously, with the click of a button. It pretty much spread wide. But on April the 16th is when it was officially announced that they was looking to sell Herdman Field, which for people that are watching that don't have a clue what Herdman Field is, it is basically a legendary memorial, well, used to be football field that is now turned into our high school and middle school soccer field that they're wanting to sell all of a sudden. And it's been the talk since April 16th. June 18th, during this board meeting, they decided to go in closed session where the public was not able to hear it at all. And then last Tuesday, September 17th, then the real estate agent was brought in to list it with the agent. Well, here's where the problem begins to occur with that is because, we had a member of the public there. Now, not a lot of people have been showing up at these, and I do encourage you October the 15th, if you are against that, to please show up. I know there's a lot of signatures on that petition. I've seen it myself. But show up October 15th. But we had a member of the public asked to speak. And during the speech, she was talking about being a major player, I guess you could say, with soccer, and getting soccer started here, fighting against the board and the office over there, and getting a lot of things done. Basically, there was no reaction whatsoever after her speech, and then a few points later on the agenda, it came up about the real estate agent, and it was never even mentioned. The only thing that she asked was they table the listing of the property for another month to the October 15th meeting, which would give people time, the public time, to find out about this, be able to show up, voice their concerns, why they believe it shouldn't be done. But it was ignored, and that's where the problem began to ensue, is because it's like, why? Why is the public being ensued? So one of the questions that we keep getting asked is why are they selling? Or, if they sell it, what's the funding and stuff going to go to? Well, I attended last Thursday, guilty as anybody. I've never been to a soccer game, don't know a whole lot about soccer. I don't know anything about soccer, but I was really confused at a lot of it. Somebody kept me on a ball court most of the time, so I didn't have a chance to play soccer, which we didn't have it then. But anyway, I attended the field and I watched those kids, both girls and boys, have the time of their lives out there. And the only thing going through my mind is, you're going to take this away from them and put them in a creek bed over there that I just looked at on the way here tonight, that has got water standing in it right now. And then that would be a practice field, I'm assuming, what they're trying to say, which is not going to be much. And then you're going to have them play on a turf field. Now, I've never played on a turf field, but I have been told that there is a major difference between playing in the grass and playing on a turf field.
For soccer.
For soccer.
You have to roll the ball.
But, then once again, here's where another issue comes up. You've got girls soccer, boys soccer. You've got football. You've got cross country. You've got all these different sports that are all going to be participating over there. Now, I'm no genius, but I'm pretty sure you can't put girls and boys in the same locker room. I know we talk about that on this program, and in some states they probably allow it, but that's not going to be here. You can't have it. But if you put them over there, you're going to be overcrowded. They're already overcrowded over there with football and what they've got. And now you're wanting to you would have to build a whole other facility. You would have to build a whole other practice field, new locker rooms, all this stuff. And it's going to cost a lot more than $250,000, or is it 200, 300, 350,000, or is it $250,000 is what it would take to fix the retaining wall that I actually looked at last week, and had multiple people there that work construction jobs, that does blacktop, everything, that was saying, we could fix that. So with the right stuff, we could fix that. And like David said, there's a lot of kids interested in soccer. I'm curious if all sports are treated equally. And then, I see Debbie Stacey there in the comments. They're talking about, the coaches are paid differently. So, that leads me to the question that I asked a couple of weeks ago. What is the problem with soccer in this county? Because not only are they trying to sell their middle school and high school field, but, there's also the little, I guess you would call it Little League, or, a league field that is up over at behind the wellness center that they're talking about building something on it. But
soccer's been at the high school for 10 years.
we'll get to that at another time. But let's see here. During your time's a coming, I promise.
Oh, you keep going. I'm all right. I'm just hanging out.
My question to the board is why they are employed by the taxpayers. That's their employer. And why would they not be interested in hearing what the public has to say about it? Why couldn't they have tabled it?
I don't think it's as much as why do they not want to hear about the public, but the question that I have to say towards them is, do they even care what the public has to say? Because that's where I was getting is, the lady that spoke during the meeting was basically let me see if I've got it wrote down properly here, because I have to go back. I was actually just at the eye doctor. I was actually unable to see a little bit better. Can you remember what she was told? Stand down?
Yes. The question was.
If
you found $2.1 million to build tennis courts with grants and stuff. Is it possible to find $250,000 grant to fix the retaining wall in the soccer field? She was told by the chairperson after the superintendent leaned over. And
no, the chairperson is who told you.
Yeah.
The chairperson, the chairperson is who told the individual to don't go any further with that. Okay, that's what it was. Okay, so don't go any further with that. So that was whispered from the superintendent over to the chair, who had told this person, do not go any further with that. So it's like, okay, so that's why I'm saying, do they even care at this point what the public says? But I believe they should care, because I know there's over 400 signatures on a petition, on an online petition, and there's probably well over 100 on all the paper petitions, that are out, throughout the county. And
here's another thing, Michael, that you might want to mention, because I know there's a lot of questions. People are asking whether people have asked the right questions, have they discussed it, blah, blah, blah. But where's that discussion off the floor meet in comparison to where their agenda is? They ask for discussions from the floor at the beginning before they even discuss anything that's on the agenda. So for me, that would be like us, let's just talk about a movie without watching it first.
You're just walking in blindly.
Let's just discuss it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I don't have one of their agendas in front of me, but I mean, the discussion from the floor comes usually before the big part, of the agenda itself. So it's like, I think the discussion of the floor should come after, almost during the conclusion of the movie. You got me thinking of movies now, of the meeting. I think that should come toward the end of the meeting. That way people, if there is anybody there, would be able to discuss this stuff. The problem to me is there's nobody there. I think we've seen the majority of the people we've seen at these meetings are three people that are not a school elected person or like a school official, that are there. And it's like, why do they not care? Why is it they don't care? And then I had a literal student from the high school look me dead in the eye today and tell me they really do hate you. And I'm like, why, you think? Of course they're going to hate me. Why? Because on the same date, let me get my eyes fixed, April the 16th, the very same day that the click of the button was made and a post was made that went out in a rejection to selling Herdman Field in the very beginning, within minutes, got a reaction from the board office. You need to stand down. You do not need to say this. You do not need to be saying that. If you want a chance to win this election, you don't need to be talking about it. Fair enough. Said it anyway. It's on there. Later that day, what happens? Very, very personal issue to me happens. That's what happens. My kid comes home higher than 3 sheets to the wind because of a THC vape that he got on the bus that was laced, that was sold to him at school. Or that was sold and transactioned at school.
On the bus.
But it came home on the bus, and then it was, switched around on the bus. So what happens? As soon as it gets reported that I'm having to take my child to the school, get a phone call, or maybe it's a text message. Please do not go to the social media with this. Please do not report this. Let us handle it. What happened? What followed? What followed? All of a sudden, nothing but punishment for my friggin' kid. That's what happened. They can sit there and tell me all they want that the other punishments were handed down, but my kid, because of me and my stat and my situation toward being on, running for the school board, my kid was punished. He was suspended for 5 days and in school for 2 and kicked off the bus the rest of the year. The only one I agree with is being kicked off the bus the rest of the year because that happened on the school bus. I agree with that. But when you talk to multiple other children and they all tell you the same thing, one of those students involved never got suspended at all, and another student in that never even got the ISD or anything. So, or in school, whatever, I called it in school months. But why did my kid get punished? Why does my kid still to this day ask, why did I get punished for that? And there's only one question that I could tell him. It's because of me. Because they hate me, like I was told today. They don't like me because they're scared to death of me. Because they're afraid that if I was to win, I'm going to bring something up, that I may be able to do something. But here's the dumb part about them is I don't give a shit if I win or not. Here's the way I look at it. I'm talking to you right now, and I'm not an elected person. If I'm elected, I have to be quieter. I have to be toned down, right? You don't have to say a word. I got you back this time. But you don't have to, because if you're elected, you've got to calm it down. You can't say as much stuff. But if you're not elected, here I sit, baby, and you can't stop me, and I'm going to get a lot louder. So while you're sitting over there throwing your money around, having affairs with everybody else's wives, maybe you should sit back and think of how much shit that I went through because of you all. Because that's the way I feel about it. You could call me. Phone's right here, baby. Call me. I don't care. But when my kid could have died because of you all, and you all done nothing about it. You done nothing. Last week, damn it. Last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, a child blacked out because of a THC vape in the friggin' bathroom. Did you all do anything? No. You never done anything because you're not going to do anything. Barney Fife over there doing an investigation when a child threatened to shoot up our schools. In 30 minutes time, done an investigation and put the kid back in school. Whoop-de-freaking-do. Montgomery County, just right down below where you're at, had a threat last week and a gun brought to school. They closed the friggin' school down. That's the way you do it, Montgomery County. Hats off to you guys. Because this bunch sure don't care. They don't care about their students. They don't care about their teachers. They don't care about anybody. Oh, yeah. You want me to say that while I'm on here? Keep going, guys. I'm right here. Keep bringing it. I would love for you guys to come on here and say something to me. Because if I don't win, whoop-de-freaking-do. Because you're going to know you're going to have a pain in the ass because I'm going to still be at every board meeting that they are, and I'm not going to stop. Love you, Matthew. I'm sorry about this. But when you threatened my child, that was the end of it. And you told me to stand down, and I left it up to you all, and there's still kids having trouble in that school right now.
We can't ignore the fact that it's going on. I think that they try to sweep it under the rug and try to act like it's not going on. I don't know what happened to having people come and speak to kids and talk about the effects it has on their life. They did it all the time when we was in school, and it was very effective to hear how some of that stuff impacted other people. One of the guys that we get pallets off of sometimes, he was talking about Fleming County. A group of students wanted a kid, or a kid wanted to take a hit off of one of the vapes from these kids, and these kids were aggravated by this kid. And he said that they finally gave in to him, but they thought it would be funny to put a little fentanyl on the rim of the vape. And it killed the kid. I mean, this stuff isn't funny. This is stuff that needs to be addressed, and it needs to be
well, there you go. I'm glad you brought that up because that's going to happen here. Because this bunch don't want to hear about it. They don't want to admit that it's going on. The only thing listen to the kids. Everybody on here tonight probably has a child in the school system, whether it's elementary, middle school, high school. I guarantee you got a kid and they see it. We had a little feller come in here the other day. My only question to him was, seen any vapes at the high school? They're all over the place. So you're really doing a good job of putting it in your little agenda at the beginning of the year that you're going to stop it. Wonderful job, guys. But one more thing, and then I'm going to try to go take the Tylenol. Why do you think teachers are never at the school board meetings? Because they're told not to be. Because if they come out against this bunch over here, it's consequences.
Well, I think that.
Am I right or am I wrong?
I don't feel very
Because
well.
what happens is, if you come out against them, your ass is sent to another county and they get rid of you. That's right. That's right. He don't have to say a word. Because I know. I sat here right along with him during the time that he was treated like dog shit. That's the thing about it. Right or wrong. And all me and him do is eat hot stuff. But then you get what I call outsiders. Probably not outsiders, but people who don't live here anymore. And then they come out and say, you don't have facts about this stuff. You don't have this. No, I have all kinds of facts, dude. I have all kinds of them. Do me a favor, step to the side and let the people of Morgan County handle their situation. That's what I feel about it. We'll handle our school board, our water boards, our fiscal court, Matthew Perry, anybody that we have to handle, we'll handle it. Now, I'm not on here having a rant, turning colors, about to stroke out because I want you to vote for me. I don't care. If I don't win, I don't win. At least I gave it a hell of a try. But what did I promise in the beginning? Everybody remembers. I'm not just standing for every child in my district. I'm standing for every child in this county, along with their parents, along with the school teachers, the cooks, the janitors. I am beside and behind each of you, and I stand for every one of you. Now, the only thing I got left to say is, where's the friggin' Tylenol?
My thing is, I would think as being on the board.
And if you get fired tomorrow, I have a job for you right here. So,
Michael,
I've got almost.
so when you're
I'm in my 27th year. I'm at the end of my rope. I've got 30 total. Let me tell you this. I think, let me say, as I listen to this, let me say this. I've always loved Morgan County Mike.
who don't?
I get emotional.
The reason why we love Morgan, the reason why, are you originally from here, Mark? Hell, I don't know. You're so old, I can't remember. But the thing about it is anybody that lived here originally that still lives here, we live here because we love this place. And we don't want to see Herdman Field gone. We don't want to see us get screwed at the water company. We definitely don't want to see one of our kids get hurt over there. Katrina, go back after we're done. You could go back and watch it because right now I'm about to have a stroke. So if I had to start over, I'd probably collapse at this point. But
I put 25 years in the Morgan County school system, and I wouldn't change that for 1 minute, because one, the relationships that I created with staff, with students, is something that I cherish dearly. When I run into kids that I was a teacher of or assistant principal of, I can't say that I always remember their names because I have a bad memory. But
you're getting up there too.
But when I do finally kind of put a name to a face, I realize when they come and talk to you and they tell you, I appreciate what you did for me and the impact you made on my life. That's why you go into teaching. That's why you do these things. You just want what's best for your county. That's it. I look at that field. I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't. My kids are graduating.
I saw your dog the other night. You do have a dog.
I have 5 dogs in my house, but I really don't have a dog in the fight.
Ryan Bowman says you better remember him.
Yeah, I do. I don't have a dog in the fight. My kids are graduated. They're long gone and out of here, and they are a product of Morgan County school system. And I can actually say that I was appreciative of what the people in this county did for my kids, because all 3 of my kids have an opportunity to be highly successful, and that's not necessarily because of me and their mother. That's because of the people that took a genuine interest in their common good. As teachers and as educators, we have an opportunity to influence the lives of every kid that we come in contact with, either positively or negatively. And
Aaron Arnett says your ass better remember the torture we put you through.
I do remember some of you guys. And like I said, those are things.
I'm going to put Aaron back up here because I love the hat. When I first saw that yesterday, he put me in mind of a younger Jim Ross. Anybody that's a WWE fan or whatever, you know who I'm talking about, Jim Ross. Now, Aaron, don't kill me because I'm saying you're an old guy that's been around since the 70s. That's not what I'm saying. But
for me, I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't really have a dog in the fight. So really, as far as me voicing my concerns, people are going to say it's not that important. But that field has a lot of historic significance to a lot of people. Bruce Herdman was a great teacher. I had him as a 10th grade teacher for health and PE. I also was fortunate enough to work under him as an assistant principal and later as a principal. And, I greatly admired what he was. And I always thought that Bruce had a miraculous ability to get kids to do things that you didn't think they would do. And he could be really, really harsh at times, but also he could be a big, kind teddy bear at times.
That's true.
And that field means a lot to a lot of people. Now,
that's true.
You look at it and you think from a practical standpoint, it makes sense to keep that field simply because it allows everybody the opportunity to practice
Don't make
equally,
no sense.
get home early. We don't have scheduling conflicts. But who am I to decide that? It's not for
You're
me to
Matthew
decide.
Perry.
It's not for me to decide.
You're Matthew
Like I
Perry.
said,
That's who you are.
I'm not perfect. I made mistakes when I was over there. There's things that I regret that I did that I wish I would have done differently. I left on my own accord. The reason I left is because I felt as if I needed to change. And
so you mean I gave all that spill for nothing?
No,
I'm going to do it again.
No, I made the rational decision on my own to leave Morgan County. And the one thing I've done is this: I've tried not to look back. I've just tried to keep my eyes focused on what is ahead of me. I hate that there are times when there are people here in this county that, and I don't mean this being mean. Like I said, I'm just telling you from my heart. When I do things at a distance, it's almost like somebody coming to you and saying, "Well, did you know that Matthew did this?" Why do they care? Just my thing was
leave him the hell alone.
I left.
Leave him
just
alone.
Leave me alone. Don't get I'll decide whether I speak to you or not, and whether you speak to me, that's okay. I'm just going to be me, and I'm just going to try to be focused on the things.
Now that I've calmed down from about 120 to 95. I do want to apologize. If I offended anybody, if I said anything that made anybody mad, I'm sorry. But it come from personal stuff. Knowing Bruce Herdman, me and Brooke were friends from 6th grade up to the day she got killed. I remember the day before she got killed. She said, "I'll see you when we get back." They were going on a trip. They were going on vacation. And the next time I saw her was definitely not the way I expected it to be. Connie was my 8th grade school teacher, and Bruce was up there during 8th grade begging me to play football, as you said. Sometimes not as nicely as people thought, but like I said, when you got to know him, he was wonderful.
Oh, wonderful!
And he was there freshman year. And like I said, I'm not on here begging for votes. If tonight turned everybody against me, that's fine. It is what it is. If I just committed whatever you want to call, I'm afraid to say the word on here, and I just cost myself everything whoop-de-doo. But I do want to tell you all something that I just found out that should be really concerning. Is since I just did my rant, our online petition is now down, which tells me that I pissed somebody off to the point where it's been removed, or at least it is on my end. I mean, you guys could go check it, but it was, it's down on my end, and like I said, I wasn't trying to hurt nobody's feelings and stuff, but before we have a child get killed over there or get hurt over there, something we need to. It's still okay. So it just must be them. Probably just hacked into my phone, FBI or something. But
we are conspiracy theorists.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just like Rhonda said, they say the truth hurts. Hope says that Herdman was a wonderful person, which is 100% true. And David says there's plenty of reasons to keep the field. And like I said, if it cost me the election, I'm sorry. I was ready to stand for you. I'll still be campaigning. I'm not out of the race unless they kick me completely out of it. I'm still going to be standing with each of you guys. Like I said, but when it comes to if I win school board, I'm going to be standing. I'm going to be standing behind now, like I said, every child in this county, every parent, every teacher that doesn't have a voice, and we know there's a lot of them. I think it might have been Aaron that said a minute ago. Hang on just a second here. I think it said, let's take an anonymous survey from teachers in Morgan County and see what they say. I would love to do that. That would be awesome.
As a school board member, would you want teachers and custodians, bus drivers, school staff, support staff? Will you want them to attend
Absolutely,
board meetings?
Absolutely, because I think it's only fair that they do. Because a lot of times, some of the decisions that are made at these board meetings are made that will affect a school teacher or will affect maybe a custodian or the cook or or anybody that works inside one of our schools. I think they should be able to be there, and if there is a point that happens during that board meeting, they're not on the clock during that board meeting, so they should be able to speak up and talk to their board members, because their board members are exactly elected by the people to be put there, but they board members work for those teachers, so those teachers and other staff members should be able to speak to those board members and voice their concerns. Being told that you're going to be fired or run out of the county or something other like that if you show up is ridiculous. And I believe it was David that said it a minute ago that there's been a lot of people leave, are taking their students. I mean, I would like to know what our current attendance rate is right now, because enrollment rate is right now, because I know it's down, and it has to be, because there's a lot of homeschool kids. There's a lot of kids in other counties, and there's a lot of teachers. There's a lot of teachers that have left this county and went to other counties to teach. Not even included Matthew, but I mean some that didn't leave maybe on even as a term as what Matthew would have had. They left on a lot worse of a term because they were probably having to face whatever was going on. So yeah, to answer that question, yes, if I'm elected on the board, I do believe that all school staff should be able to come to those board meetings. And another thing, if I'm elected to the board, I also believe, there's no also to it, every board meeting will be live streamed for the public to see if I'm elected, and that is a guarantee. I am homeschooling mine when he gets old enough. I mean, until something changes, I don't know. There's going to be more and more people, because I could tell you, because I've got kids in the schools. I could tell you, I've got a lot of friends that's got kids in the schools, and they'll all tell you the stuff that was going on last year is still going on this year. The stuff going on this year will be going on next year, more than likely, because if they don't change it, it's never going to change in the schools to make the schools safer. There was a shade threw at me during the last board meeting that I put stuff on social media that's not true. I bet you're listening now, old boy. But because I don't have to put it on social media, because I know how you treated my kid. And I'm not talking to just a one certain person. I'm talking to anybody over there that's just got a lot of money going behind me, that's trying every way in the world to make sure I don't win, because I'm not going to be bought. I'm already worth $600,000. So I'm already worth it, baby. Do I have it in my banking account? Nope. But that's just me saying whatever.
But you will.
Hang on, what we got here? If elected, would you raise teachers' pay to match surrounding? I would vote for that, absolutely. Because I would look and see what the surrounding counties, because that's what pay is at, and kind of see exactly where our teachers are, and then I would definitely vote to because you being a teacher yourself, and even in an administrative level, with the principal, assistant principal, what it's like, and they deserve every dollar they get, and if they're being underpaid, then definitely they should be able to be paid what everybody.
I do think that teachers and the support staff are not given as much credit as they should be. I do think that we worry a lot about administrators in this county. There's a lot of administrators and a lot of administrator raises, but the working network of the school is your teachers and support staff and everything. You didn't have the buses running in the morning, you ain't gonna have kids there. You don't have the custodians.
Tanya said it perfectly here. She said, a lot of those teachers also have kids in those schools, so their voice counts. Absolutely, and that's what we were
Your
talking
voice
about.
should count
You know,
regardless.
you should not be told you cannot attend that meeting. You know, you
I
all right
saw-
over
Yeah,
there?
Papa, my neck makes a
Lorna,
killer.
thought
I
I'd
seen
scared him away.
call another constituent down in the county. He got a standing ovation of 50 people clapping, and he was called down to be quiet. And he was just bringing stuff to the board's attention that were some concerns. And obviously, 50 people gave him a standing ovation. They agreed with him.
Phyllis also said school board collects approximately 60% of the county
Yes,
taxes.
they do.
And you know what probably a lot of people don't realize was not the September meeting, but the August meeting. It was brought to a vote, and it was voted 3-2 to keep the tax rate where it's at. They had two other options. They could have raised it or they could have lowered it. The two board members that voted no to keep it the same, they wanted to lower it to help the people who are struggling in this county, and the other three voted to keep it the same. Me, myself, I would have been that no vote because I know there's families in this county right now, probably most of us included, that are struggling for a few extra dollars right now. Now, would it be major money? No, but any few extra dollars, a tank of gas, something other, anything extra right now would be great. I don't know. But I promised since the beginning, if I was on the board, I would vote no to sell Herdman Field. Obviously, if I do get elected, by the time I get there, it's already been listed or whatever, unless something changes, in the coming weeks. But I'll still be fighting for it to keep it from going through
We
because.
are trying to get on October 15th agenda.
And she said that the petition was still up.
Yes, it is.
For some reason on mine, let's see here. I'm trying to share it here into the comments right now. That's the sorriest looking thing I've ever seen. I don't know what it what it looks like to everybody else, but anyway, I don't know if that's got a link to it or if it looks like that on everybody else's. But if you haven't got a chance to sign that petition yet, and you do not agree with selling Herdman Field, then go over there and let that. Let your voice be heard. And October the 15th is the next school board meeting. If you live around here or if you're going to be in this area during that time and you got any ties with Herdman, I know Victoria was in class with me, so she knows all about it. Which I think, I don't know, last I heard she was in Cincinnati or something, so I ain't asking you to drive that far. But try to be at that meeting. Show up. If there's 600 people on that petition and you live anywhere within the vicinity of this place, let's fill this office up on October the 15th and let them know that we're sick and tired of the dirty politics and the corruption that's going on, all across the board. It's time. I've been to every school board meeting this year except for the few that they go into closed session. That the public is not allowed to be at.
We have to leave.
And you have to leave. And
my question is, since they're telling you to stand down or you're going to lose an election, is that kind of like election interference?
that should be election interference. But you know what I told them? Who cares? If I lose, I lose. Like I said, I could come on here tonight and do exactly what I did here tonight, even though I got my blood pressure up and probably, have to go get me a drink here in a minute to try to calm her down. But, but no, I agree with that. When somebody from a somebody higher in central office is telling you to calm it down, and if you want to win, you need to stop saying the things you're saying. It's like, I don't know. I mean, most of the people that I've noticed watching here tonight, not all of them, obviously, just some of them are probably sitting back thinking this dude's an idiot, and they're writing down he just buried himself. Okay, I'll still be here next week doing it again. So it's like, this is my platform. This is not. But that's Matthew Smith. You ain't getting it anyway. But this is mine. That's mine. All the other stuff over there is mine, and you can't take it. So, it is what it is. I'm here to, I don't know. I'm here to be the voice. I'm here to be your voice. And even though I kind of went off on a rant tonight and got a little loud and obnoxious, at least you got someone standing up for you. And with that being said, guys, let us welcome ourselves to the original show that you was expecting to see tonight. And And unless you got any more questions, if you got any more questions, fire away. And I finally got me a drink. Should probably put some cyanide in it, but try to calm me down. But if you don't have any more questions about local stuff or Herdman Field, anything like that, we'll move on with some of our other stuff that we had lined up for tonight. But I've got to calm down for just a minute. So if it was only a Friday night, there'd be some stronger stuff in the building. Yeah, only know if that would work or not at this point. So how have things been going, man?
Things are going good. Things are going good. It's been.
You think you can follow that?
I doubt it. I can try, but that don't mean I will. But I can give a good committed effort, good faith effort to try. That's all I can do is try.
Yeah, it is what it is. I'm not. I'm tired of holding back and being told not to say things. I mean, it's, like I said, I'm still going to campaign. My name's still going to be on the ballot on November the 5th, along with Donald Trump. That's something a lot of you can't say. Am I on the same ticket with Donald Trump? No, but I'm going to be somewhere on the same ballot. So
I wish you would.
I'm not going to be on the same ticket, but I'll be on the same piece of paper.
As a citizen, it's extremely important.
You want some food?
I'll get some here in a minute. It's extremely
It's
important,
hot, by the way. So
it's extremely important, Mike, that you voice your concerns. You let your concerns be heard. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be opposition and there's not going to be people that are going to be totally against what you say. You have the right to have your voice heard. Why? You're a concerned citizen within this community. You're a resident here. You pay taxes. So the money that is being spent, Phyllis said 60% of county taxes are for school taxes. You should have a voice. You should be allowed to resonate what you believe. It doesn't mean they have to necessarily go with it. That's just part of it. But, your voice and your concern. And when you're talking about kids and opportunities and privileges that are bestowed upon kids, we want to try to make it easier for people rather than difficult. And
David, after tonight, I don't know if that'll happen or not.
So,
Sonia, I apologize to you. During my rant, when I talked about teachers and cooks and janitors, custodians, what they're called these days, that I stand up with the students and the parents and all those, I forgot about bus drivers, and I want to apologize. Bus drivers, I have your back too, because I know where you're at. I know the situation that you're in right now and where you're locked in at, and I just... I want to know that if elected, I got your guys' back too. Is that thunder?
Yes.
and the thunder rolls.
And the thunder rolls, baby.
And the lightning strikes.
Now, David, I don't know if I got to tell you, but now both of the opponents have said they would do it, but now, it'll be sometime in October, and before the election, so we'll see. But what we'd have to do then, we have to have a different setup. I can't host myself, obviously, and me be up there. So you'd have to have someone to ask the questions, someone to read the Facebook things as they come in, or if there's a phone call.
Don't get ABC.
No.
Are you saying that ABC rigged that debate? Come on now. You would be a conspiracy theorist if you thought that a media production outlet would rig anything.
You want me to mix some number 8 up in this?
No. No. I'm good right now. No.
I prefer the word truth seeking.
I'm going to throw this out there, Mike, because I am a conspiracy theorist.
Obviously.
So you deem to think I am.
It's what I hear on a weekly basis.
But I'm batting about 900 because I've been right on about a lot of stuff.
I was told just before I came here this evening about, a certain guy named Diddy
Oh, what about P. Diddy?
That we'll get to later.
You know, he
Where
changed.
you had even mentioned him a while back, and now this stuff has come up. Now we'll get to that.
You know, he changed his name for the 5th time this week. He changed his name from P. Diddy to pedophile. Pedophile is what he is. He's a pedophile. And I think on one of your programs I talked about that P. Diddy had moved from, I want to say Miami to Los Angeles because he had a secret meeting with one certain individual who basically is the ringleader of all this. And for all those people out there that think P. Diddy is the big fish, he's the small fish. They're going to get the big fish too. And the big fish is going to surprise everybody who the big one is. It's coming. It's coming. But there's been a lot of things go on. You talk about what's his name? Harvey Weinstein.
A long time.
Long time ago, Harvey Weinstein. I basically think that he blackmailed the movie Hollywood industry. Then you've got P. Diddy, who has blackmailed the music industry. You've got Jeffrey Epstein, who has blackmailed the government. I'm going to ask this question: who's blackmailing the sports industry?
Matthew Perry.
No, it ain't me.
Oh.
Ain't me, but somebody is, and there's a lot of them involved in it. Wait till you see the domino effect that goes with the P. Diddy case. A lot of people think P. Diddy will be Epstein. He ain't gonna be Epstein. He's gonna squeal like a pig. He's gonna squeal to keep himself from dying a painful death. He's gonna get life in prison, but that's better than dying. At least he can have his conscience. And they're going to find out a lot of realities that went on over the last 25 to 30 years. And what I've been saying from day one, that every bit of this is about what? Human sex trafficking, child pedophilia, pornography, all this stuff that has corrupted this country. We get rid of all of that, go back to morals and values, put God first, you'll see what will happen in this country. It will change and change tremendously. And you got to put God back in your schools. You got to put God back in your government buildings.
Absolutely.
You got to put God back in everything. Now, I don't claim to be a very highly religious person.
You don't have to be religious to know that.
I do believe in a spiritual being that has created this universe, and a being that has power, that is all knowing, that controls the past, the present, and the future. And I think with God and with Trump, and people say, well, Trump, you put Trump on this pedal. Trump may not be a perfect man, but Trump is a godly man, and godly people make mistakes.
Neither were the 12 disciples.
That's exactly right. People make mistakes. So with Trump, we're going to get the Bible back in schools. We're going to get the 10 Commandments back in schools. We're going to get society moralistically changed, and we need that when the reality and the truth comes out about what's been going on behind the scenes for the last 25 to 30 years. It's time.
Well, now, he does have a lot of catching up to do to be able to top my speech from earlier tonight, but I think he's right on my heels at this point. Boy, I'm going to have to find somebody else to talk about. Well, no, you're right. You are 100% right. You know, not really sure about our local schools, but I do know a lot of schools have taken the 10 Commandments out. You know, the Bible's been removed, prayer's been removed.
I remember being a little kid.
And that's that's ridiculous. I mean, you've got to.
I remember being a little kid in school, 4th, 5th grade. We had a lady by the name of Miss Tarrant. I think it was her name. She came to our schools and taught us Bible verses. And you know, everybody in that classroom competed to learn and recite as many Bible verses as they could to try to win the top prize, which was typically a religious bookmark. But you know, that's what I'm saying. Things have changed. Society, and you turn the TV on right now, Mike, and 99% of the time you see something that is sexually inclined. And you're trying to promote that to underage kids that don't have any rationale reason for seeing that.
While David's talking local, real quick, I said I would get back to the water company. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about that because I mean, by now, as much as that's been covered, everybody should know what's going on up there. But I do want to take up for them in a way. You know, the PSC approved the 26% rate increase like 2 or 3 months ago. That was put in our newspaper. That was put on a PSC website. Um, so you knew it was coming. And but I'll say, I mean, I'll take the brunt of this. Not one current board member that sits on the water board, or not the interim GM that's up there right now. None of them had anything to do with this rate increase that's going to happen in October. That came back from, I would even maybe guess even the beginning of the year, because we didn't hear about it till the end of February that they were requesting the 41% increase. So the PSC, so the former board had already submitted their request to the PSC for the 41% increase. And when that started getting questioned, then they asked for a 26% emergency increase that at the time, would cover um, the hiring of 5 gateway employees, and that's what it went to. But what a lot of people probably don't understand is what we've been told from the water company is this 26%. Now you'll have to help me with this a little bit, but the 26% that's going to go into effect next month is to help try to get us back on track. How was it said? Because eventually, if it gets back on track, it puts money back into your pocket. And
it could be decreased once they accumulate enough money to cover their expenses. They are very heavily in debt. They have vendors that they owe money to. No, it's not our responsibility to pay that because we paid our bills. However, nobody setting up there right now on the board was part of that. The general manager that's acting right now they're doing everything they can to keep us water in the county and keep it flowing. And I know that everybody's frustrated. I'm frustrated, guys. I was frustrated as soon as I heard 41% increase. However, the way we're reading it from PSC, and it was confirmed, is that this 26% increase will be used to try to pay down the debt and get them back to operating the way they should have been and the way they should be.
right.
And then once that's accumulated and they're able to operate, they could decrease that rate back down.
Right. So she had spoke with the interim GM and them about that, and had a little bit more understanding of that. But that's where they're at with that is they're trying to get caught back up, like I said, enough to where maybe even the 26% could even come back off. It's not like it could be a possible permanent thing. Now, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say in 10 years, if you're still paying it and it goes up to 41%, you're saying, that dude lied to me. So I'm not going to sit here and say that it's going to fall off. $500,000 is a big debt. If I'm $500,000 in debt, it's going to take me a long time to pay that up. So, it's not like, you're going to get a rate increase in October and it's going to be gone by December. It ain't going to be anything like that. But, I did want to, take up for the current people up there. Not one of the 5 board members, nor the interim GM, nor either of the employees that are up there right now had anything to do with that PSC rate increase.
Put up the property for sale.
The property has been,
to eliminate that debt. So it is for sale. If anyone's interested in the lot, contact the water company. They have put it up for sale.
And I bring it up here. Don't call up there and yell at them. I mean, because like I said, it's not them. It is not anything that they had to do, but they do post monthly when their board meetings are. That's we talked to the school board a minute ago. I mean, I've calmed down from 120 to 50 now. I'm starting to calm down a little bit after I got off my school board rant. But they have board meetings up there too. Actually, I think they're now being held. They're being held at the physical courtroom,
and I think they're streamed.
They're streamed. So follow that page. Follow any of those board members up there. At the water company, they will.
They are trying to be transparent.
They are trying. They're doing a really good job. Switching things around and helping people. Like I said, I understand people are upset about that. and everybody is, but it's none of those guys or gals that's up there right now that had anything to do with that. So, when it comes to Outback, just say what you want to say about us. I mean, here at Outback, that is our sponsor of tonight's episode, though. You know, right here at Outback Gunsmore, right here in West Liberty, Kentucky, at 310 West Main. Love to see that you guys are watching. The viewership's up a little bit. Like I said, I apologize. I went off on a big rant earlier. I'm sure that's going to be the most viewed show in a while, and I'll probably get a bunch of phone calls tomorrow, but I'm not going to answer it. So don't even do it. If you want to talk to me, you know where to find me. I'll be having a Hot Ones challenge with Matthew in Lexington. Sound all right?
Sounds good to me.
Actually, I can't believe they didn't mix anything up in this buffalo. That's buffalo sauce, so that's got hot sauce in it. I'm sure you figured it out. But it ain't nothing compared to what we went through.
Ain't nothing hot no more.
No,
since
it's
we
not.
had
It's
the-
not
the
as hot
bomb.
as. It's not as hot as what we had last week.
Holy Lord, no. Lord, no. I'll say, take the number of customers on county water, multiply it by, say, 75 to 100, and then take 26%, and it won't take that long to recall. Well, I mean, that's good. I agree with that. Yeah.
Modern day.
I mean, we should be getting our water bills, I'd imagine, one day this week, right? Electric bills posted online. The water bills usually right along around the same time. And then Aaron says all utilities are funded through the PSC, and without public complaints and our comments, they do not know where citizens stand. Be active and ask how funds are being invested back into your county. And once again, Aaron's even saying, I'm not even having to say it. Matthew's not having to say it. Even Aaron's saying right here tonight.
We gotta go and attend.
Voice your concerns to the PSC. Start attending your board meetings. Like I said, water board, physical court, school board. Start attending these meetings and let your voice be heard. And you may see a lot of change. You may start seeing change in our county that you haven't seen in a long time. I'll leave it at that. Looks like Travis posted a King James version here. And that goes right along with right where we're at. But, well, besides me and you sitting here. But I almost got myself worked up again. Oh, man.
And as they say in Nashville, the
hits just keep on coming.
baby.
Oh, man. What about that hit right there? Oh, my gosh. I don't know. Where do you want to go, man? What do you want to do now?
Where do I want to go? You actually
Well,
wanna
where do
ask
I
that
want to
question.
go? Is probably,
I want to go to the beach. I want to be laying
I would
with
like
my
to.
feet in the sand and have a lot of money.
What is it? Like to have my toes in the water, ass in the sand. Yeah, that'd be all right, wouldn't it?
That's what I like to be. But you know what? I'm not there yet. But I have made some financial investments that
You're a little bit more than I have. Yeah.
I think are going to hit. Why? Because I think Mr. Trump said it yesterday. He stated in a speech that we will pay off our national debt of $35.3 trillion with cryptocurrency. And for those you listening, that is not Bitcoin. Because if you find out who actually is behind Bitcoin, you would want to get as far away from Bitcoin as you possibly could. However, there are some things out there that could quite possibly enhance your wealth. But that's for me to know and for you to find out. But Trump was Trump was yesterday too.
The interim GM, baby, is in the house.
Trump was
Sorry, John.
Trump was somewhere yesterday, and he had the opportunity to buy something. They were going to give him something free in a store. And what Trump choose? He chose a bag of popcorn.
Hey, Deb, does Licking Valley have a board that's public meetings or anything? I don't know. I'm not on here trying to start trouble with anything, but I just know it was brought up here that Licking Valley has a rate increase or is in a rate case right now. So, I'm not on
I
here.
think the same thing applies to it as it did the water board. If you disagree with it, I don't know exactly. I haven't read.
Is
all
it
the
through
paperwork.
PSC too? Well, I think who
It's
was
at the
that said
same
that? Aaron, I
website.
think said that. So yeah, they would all be. But
It's
yeah,
in
I
the
don't. I just.
Same website. They can go read the rate case, see what they're proposing. I haven't read enough on that to speak on it.
When you talk about taxes, the state of the economy right now has put people behind the eight ball. They can sit and say that inflation is on the decline. You need not go any further than the grocery store to find that inflation has not declined by any means. Now, I will say this: price of gas has dropped tremendously, but we're very, very close to that election, and typically, anytime that election occurs, gas tends to drop to, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. Maybe if you pad people's pockets for the last couple of weeks prior to the election, you'll forget the last 3 years. I'm not forgetting those last 3 years. Why? Because when you go to the grocery store, you go to buy a steak, you go to buy eggs, you go to buy bread, you go to buy cereal, you go to buy milk. That right there tells me all I need to know. I'll vote with my stomach. And my stomach says, if we don't improve the economy,
I can vote with my stomach.
Well, I guess you can. if we don't consciously make the right decision based on the economy, what is good for the future, I don't know if the middle class of America can sustain 4 more years of this, because you start talking to people and they tell you, people that are out in the business world, small businesses as well as businesses that are trying to get by are extremely being hard hit, hanging on by a thread. COVID. I got a buddy that does a podcast, and he said that COVID about put him under, but he was successfully able to survive. And I said, well, it wouldn't surprise me if something didn't happen prior to the election to try to, once again, force mandated lockdowns. And if you get mandated lockdowns, he said, man, I won't be able to survive. He said, we'll go under. We will go under, and a lot of businesses will. There's a lot of people out there that are struggling. People on fixed incomes. It's just hard. It's hard to rationally get by right now.
Well, look at how many major companies are going down. I think it was last week. Big Lots announced that a lot of companies were going down. Today, it was reported that Yellow, which we would know as Schwann's, we covered a story on it where they shut down our local shop.
And moved everything to Louisville.
It was announced this morning that in November they're shutting the whole company down. It's gone. They're seizing all everything. So, and those are big. Those are big like chains. Red Lobster was.
Well, I don't think a lot of people might keep up with the economic side of it from the perspective of what are banks doing? What are these major companies doing? This past week, 80 banks in China foreclosed. 80 banks in China. America is owned by China. So if they've got banking issues in China, it's going to have a drastic effect on the monetary issues here in America as well. And you've got companies like, I think you said BlackRock announced that they were going bankrupt today. That is one of the largest companies in the world. Them and Vanguard pretty much own just about everything in America. Yet they're going under. So there's a lot of things going on, a lot of developments that, I think the next month will be very eye-opening, very interesting. Could see what could happen prior to this election, if there is an election, because there very well may not be.
Well, that's what.
Because a lot of people are fearful that if we were to, and it could happen overnight, Mike. I've said this. Anthony Blinken, the Secretary of State, last week announced that they were giving Ukraine authorization to fire Western financed missiles in deep into Russia, and Vladimir Putin basically stated that if that happened, it was an act of war against NATO, an attack on one,
The
an attack on all.
Right.
So I don't know if anybody saw this or not. This morning, the Belarus president told his generals to prepare for war.
Well, did you
So
see what a
something's-
bomb they
Something's getting ready. Something's going on.
Israel dropped a bomb on Lebanon, and that was a massive bomb. I mean, it sends shockwaves across that place. So I think what you're getting at, I believe we're not too far.
So if a
You
war
know.
were to break out and you're in a war, what does it do to the potential of the election? Puts it on hold. So a lot of people are concerned that it very well could happen, and it could happen right around the corner, right around that time. Let's hope it doesn't. I'm not sure people are aware of this either. That the Israeli government has found a way to explode pagers and cell phones. Hezbollah, Iranian terrorists they're being targeted. Their cell phones are exploding in their pockets and creating massive damage. And that leads me to believe that if they could do that, what other types of technology does our government possess that they could do? You know, scary stuff going on behind the scenes. And like I said, a lot of people I just don't think are aware of. Not aware of it all.
I think I seen something that said I didn't have a chance to read on it though, but said something on it about the voting system in Montana shut down because Harris was left off the ballot.
I'm gonna let you take this one.
What? I don't know how to respond to that.
I've already pissed off about everybody in the county at this point.
So what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about election integrity? Is that what you want to talk about? Because I got all kinds of news on election integrity. I'm going to tell you, some of these states have taken the precaution to ensure that maybe another 2020 don't happen. You know, and people are going to say, well, here you go again. That 2020 talk. Well, I'm just going to look at you and tell you.
Watch what you're saying. Your wife's watching.
Well, she can watch all she wants. As far as election integrity, I'll give you one. 206 House Democrats this past week voted ensuring that only Americans voted against ensuring that only Americans are voting in American elections. Did you hear what I just said?
Say it again.
206 House of Representatives. We have 435 members of the House of Representatives in Washington, D.C. Of that 435, 206 of which were House Democrats voted against ensuring that only Americans are voting in American elections. What does
so
that
they voted against
it? What does that say? That tells you all you need to know right there. Why? Because what do we have in this country right now? We have
20 million.
21 million migrants that are here that are, and like I said, I don't want to give people the wrong perception and let them walk from here and say that I'm against immigration, because I'm not. But we've got a lot of people crossing the border. We've got a lot of people crossing the border, Mike, unvetted, unchecked. We've seen an increase in crime. We've seen an increase in the amount of fentanyl. You talked about fentanyl earlier. Fentanyl coming into this country, a 2,000%
right
increase.
Here in this community.
Well, all local communities, all small communities are being affected by one. At one time, it was the opioid epidemic. Now it's more fentanyl laced, and it's dangerous. And you know, there needs to be a stiffer penalty. In my opinion, there needs to be a stiffer penalty on people that are bringing this stuff into our country, because if we don't protect our citizens, it can very well affect local communities and the very people that mean something to us. You know, and it can be, like you said, it can be simply by a kid experimenting, taking a chance on something, and it be laced with fentanyl and it caused their death. We don't want to see that. But 206 House Democrats voted against ensuring that only Americans are voting. Tells you everything you need to know. Pennsylvania. I don't know if people are aware of this. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court overturned a Commonwealth court earlier decision 4-3 as far as mail-in ballots. Mail-in ballots have to have an accurate date on them and a legible date. I mean, they can't be postmarked after the election to be counted in the election itself. So that in itself is going to eliminate some fraudulent behavior. Um, in addition to that, there is a county in Pennsylvania where the officials removed every mail-in ballot drop box in their county. They took every drop box that was for mail-in ballots and have eliminated them. What we do know is in 2020, Joe Biden received 64,000 plus votes in its Luz, Luzerne County. 35,000 of those votes were in mail-in ballots, more than half the votes that Biden received on election day. That's one single county in Pennsylvania. They have eliminated that to try to ensure election integrity. Oklahoma was in the news this week too, Mike, with election integrity, election securities that were implemented. They put a ban on ranked choice voting and implementation of mandatory post-election audits. Any election must be mandatorily audited. Serial code numbers on the ballots must match. Everything's to T. Not going to count any ballot that is that cannot be matched with a serial code number. They took precaution and eliminated in Oklahoma 463,000 ineligible voters from the voter rolls. Listen to this. 97,000 dead people were removed from the voter rolls in Oklahoma. Okay? Oklahoma's a red state. If there's 97,000 dead voters in Oklahoma, imagine a blue state like California, Illinois, New York, how many dead voters they could eliminate there as well. 194,000 plus inactive voters canceled that were canceled during address verification. Their addresses didn't match up with what they were. Not 15,000 plus duplicate voters, people that were voting multiple times, were removed from the voter rolls. 143,000 people that have moved, no longer reside in the state, but were still on the voter rolls. And if I put a mail-in ballot in and I put that name on there, guess what? It was traditionally counted. 5,600 felons were removed from the voter rolls. 5,600 felons. Imagine that's just one small red state. Imagine those, like I said, those big blue states. Georgia, I saw something this morning that one of the TV analysts was upset over all the election integrity laws that Georgia has implemented. Georgia Election Board rules that ballots must be hand counted, counting every one of them. So what I'm going to look at you and tell you is they're going to say, there's going to be people in this country say you can't count every ballot. There was a country in South America that had 27 million voters, 27 million, and they counted all the votes in less than 4 hours.
They have
Florida.
counted.
So, you've got several things going on. I'll give you another one. A federal judge has ordered the founder of the Dominion voting machines to give deposition evidence under oath to election integrity activists. That's a big one because now they can look to see if those machines were tampered with or manipulated. So, 2020 still lingers in the minds of a lot of people, and I know a lot of people are going to say, well, Trump created all that, and there was problems with it. It's hard for me to fathom, and I say this for one reason. Joe Biden got 81 million votes. Now look at me, Mike. Hold up. 81 million votes. But yet they wanted him off the ballot. Answer that question. How could you want someone that got 81 million votes and got more votes than any other presidential candidate in history off the ballot, regardless of his mental capacity? He got 81 million. You would not want him off that ballot if he got 81 million votes.
If he got 81 million votes, I'm getting 50,000 in a school board race. And there ain't that many people in the county.
Hell, there's a lot of dead people in the county, though. They get to vote.
So
they might vote for you, Mike. But you talk about election integrity. A lot of these precautions have been taken, and these people are upset that these states are doing what they think is best for their citizens. Elections are controlled at the state level. That's a state power. State elections control. So, a lot of in the last election, 2020, some of the election laws that states had were disregarded. They basically overrode their constitution and did what they wanted to. They're not going to do that this time. It ain't going to happen. So what I'm going to tell you is, in some of these border, what I call border battleground states that have changed some of their election laws, it's going to be very nick and tuck. So how do you go about changing that and implementing changes to get you what you want? We'll see. So
Well, I thought I seen something the other day that the 14 million plus that voted for Biden in the primary, that's like I want to say around 4 to 6%, maybe it was. I can't remember the exact number. Said they was going to vote for Trump because and the rest of them wasn't going to vote for neither, but ones that didn't like hers was going to vote for Trump if they voted.
well, Trump's popularity is growing in states like New York. Trump's numbers for the projections from 2020 to now, Trump has rose about 10 to 12 to 15 percentage points in New York. He could very well win the state of New York in the 2024 election. Now, do I think he won the state of New York in the 2020 election? Nick and Tuck, depends upon how many of those
Right.
voters were ineligible that could have been taken off. It could have very well went in his favor. However, that all that's hindsight's 2020, and we're looking forward to the future. Less than probably 40 plus days away from one of the biggest elections in the history of the United States. But I keep hearing people say, there's a threat against democracy, and that Trump is going to destroy the Constitution. He is going to rip it up into shreds and create a dictatorship. If he was going to do that, he would have done that in 2016. He had 4 years to do it. My exact response to that is, if Kamala was going to fix the problems that address this nation, she's had 3.5 plus years to do that, and we've yet to have any change. And she is going to the border this Friday, the first time in history.
Wow.
What,
Yeah.
the Ohio-Pennsylvania border?
She's going down to the actual border this Friday. It's taken her 3.5 plus years to visit the border. Yet in 2021, she was named the border czar. That was her
Is she going
responsibility.
to the legit border?
She's going to the legit border on Friday.
Maybe she'll figure it out when she's.
So if you vote for her, it's possible it could take her 3.5 years before she actually implements anything.
Well, that's what we saw in the
Pretty
last.
true.
If history repeats itself.
And I know that people are going to say, well, ABC fact check this, fact check that. I don't care what you say. It came out this week that one of the moderators basically conveyed that they were told to only fact check Trump, not fact check Kamala.
Well, during that debate, Trump could have said, "Well, I've got a son named Eric." No, you don't. I mean, they were against him from the get go. Anything he said, they said he didn't. That's all. I mean, yeah. But like I said, the CNN debate with Biden was pretty good.
Well,
they were pretty fair. Kind of pretty neutral. I mean, I hard to believe that I can say that about CNN, but now ABC was awful.
Well, people need to look at like their mortgages, the interest rates. All this stuff has had a major increase. I put down some stuff here, Mike, in my notes. Home loans in 2020 were 3.5%. In 2024, home loans are 6.1%.
Yeah.
Seen almost a double in home loans. Car loans in 2020,
We'll visit a few more.
5.2%. Right now, car loans in 2024 are 8.6%. Credit card interest rates.
Oh, I know
In
about
2020, the credit card interest rate was 15.1%. 4 years later, the credit card interest rate is 21.5%. That's a significant change. Since Biden and Harris have been inaugurated, you've seen a plus 8.1% increase in housing inflation, plus 41.5% increase in gas, and an 11.4 increase in food. Fentanyl fentanyl has increased in amount and supply in this country. And because of the Biden Harris administration, the price of a fentanyl pill went from $10 to 25 cents because of the magnitude of mass number of this coming across the border. Went from $10 to 25
Says
cents.
here, diesel goes up, groceries goes up.
That's probably true.
Mm-hmm. So
You know, and gas, you know, you talk about people that, you know, most people don't have the fortune to work within 3 to 5 miles of their job. Most of them have to drive. Gas has been pretty high consistently for the
unless
last
you live in Moorhead,
You know, right now there's
that's
places.
the cheapest I've seen it anywhere in Moorhead.
I've seen gas down towards Moorhead, $2.85 a gallon.
We
What?
saw 260.
260s. Where was that the other day?
Cheapest I've seen is $2.80, but now that's not to say that it's not cheap.
Could have been. Yeah, could have been. Yeah.
No,
You know, you take gas.
on the way to Louisa.
You think, well, it doesn't matter. Gas prices don't
It's
matter.
Winchester,
You know, if
Louisa,
it goes
it's
up,
somewhere.
and it costs you an additional $150 a week, that's a lot of money for some people. That's a lot of money. $150 could pay your water bill. Maybe not here in Morgan County right now, but it could probably pay your water bill.
I'm glad you went there.
I mean, I don't mean that, and I'm not saying that mean. I'm giving you an idea.
But no, you're right.
But
you're right.
$150 could help go a long way in buying groceries.
Kim says it was $2.79 at Camargo today.
That's not bad, $2.79.
No, it's almost tempting to drive over there.
Well, I mean, if you
Which
go,
I mean, right now it's what, $2.99 here in town.
yeah.
So I mean, you know, it's
Well, like I said, what's coming up though? What's coming up?
Election.
Yeah, the election is here. So all of the time,
Oh, I know.
It seems like every time the election comes
I
around,
know.
that price starts to drop to get people to tend to forget what
That's just
they've been
a
impacted by. Don't forget what they've done over the last 4 years. Don't forget the extra cost that it costs the average citizen $11,000 more a year just to live as they did in 2020. $11,000 more a year. So that tells you that inflation is pretty rampant.
Yeah, but I thought it was down.
Well, that's,
I thought it was along with crime. I thought it was on the way down.
well, it depends upon how you look at your statistics.
Didn't we just see that before we went on the air?
Yeah.
Crime is down. It's like, well, it ain't Kentucky. Because I think it might have been Wanda earlier said there's been a lot of stuff going on in Kentucky lately. I mean, we've had the shooting guy down in London. I mean, a lot of different things going on, you know, here in Kentucky. So I don't know.
Well,
I was going to ask you something since about all this distractions that's going on with Diddy and everything. People don't realize, but you haven't touched on it yet. But Sunday, the UN just adopted and signed the Pact for the Future.
see that's what they're very good, and I know this sounds stupid, but they're very, very good at distractions. And what I mean by that is they get your attention.
So what you're saying is Diddy is more than likely the distraction to kind of get people's attention off something that bigger is about to happen.
Look at this hand.
Yeah, it's all smoke and mirrors.
Right.
Here's the smoke, here's the mirrors. And like you said, the UN passed a pact. I guarantee it has to do with consolidarity of countries. There's an initiative. I don't know if people have seen this or not. There's an initiative called 2030 that talks about 30% of all U.S. land being occupied by the government. 30%. They're going to use conservationism as a key element, but what they're going to do is you're going to see a lot of people lose their land, and as people start losing their land over the near future, that means you're more reliant on who? The government, and thus you get more government controls at the expense of less freedom.
I bet I don't get any after tonight.
It's a pact for the future.
I still love you.
Just don't forget me.
I still love you, man.
Just don't forget me when everything.
Oh, I ain't
goes
gonna forget
down.
you. You know that. You know that.
The Pact for the Future, which lays the foundation for a new global order.
That's the whole agenda. And people thought that was a conspiracy. When we started talking about that, Mike, 4 years ago, a new world order, a one world government, a one world religion, a one world military, people thought we were absolutely foolish. It's knocking on the door now because most of these countries around the world have chosen to give up democracy in favor of Marxism and communism. And people are saying, saying, well, that'll never come here. Hey, your rights are being taken away from you left and right, and most people don't even know it. They don't even notice it.
Nora Henry just said here that shots were fired into Kamala's election office in Arizona. So see, here we go again.
Yeah, but it'll stretch out
We
long
have
enough.
to be. We have to say it the way that it's supposed to be. Like when the Biden issues, things was going on. If it's the other way, people are saying, "Well, they missed. Why would you miss?"
I saw.
Me myself, we're going to sit here right now and say, hopefully nobody was
Okay.
hurt. Nobody. I hope there was nobody in there. Nobody was hurt because we don't want it that way.
Okay.
We don't want it to be that way.
I'm gonna give you a tidbit of information. If you want to fact check it, you can fact check it. I don't care. You're not gonna hurt my feelings one bit. There was a new Rasmussen poll that came out today. That Rasmussen poll asked the question: how many people would like to have seen Donald Trump got killed? 28% of, and this is what the Rasmussen report is reporting. This is not me reporting this. This is me telling you what the Rasmussen report said. 28% of Democrats in this country would like to have seen Donald Trump got killed.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
And I'm looking at you saying, listen, in differences of opinion, just because me and you disagree doesn't mean that I want to see you dead.
Right. Just like right here. If Kamala Harris was in that office today and shots were fired, we just hope she's safe. You know what I'm saying? Or anybody else that's in there safe, because we don't condone violence. They make it out to be that people that might not vote the way that, someone on the left might, that, you're this big crazy person in the world. But no, that's only the left that wishes that somebody would die in a shooting, not the other side.
Okay, how many assassination attempts are we aware of that Trump has endured in the last, let's say, 3 months?
3.
Okay, most people know.
Well, one of them we ain't even going to talk about. It just recently happened.
Okay, we know that Matthew Thomas Crooks supposedly shot at Donald Trump in Bethel, Pennsylvania.
Right.
Yeah. The assailant was killed. We know that his body was cremated within 7 days. We know that the FBI in this country has yet to come out with an investigative report saying all the details that were involved in it. We have substantiated proof that there are people saying that the Secret Service was watered down and that the patrol,
I don't want them protecting me.
that the patrol for Trump was not a
Give
high
me Mark
priority.
Harper
Okay,
to protect
let's
me.
talk. Let's go further. Okay.
That's all I
The
need.
second one occurred last week, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe a week and a half ago, where Donald Trump was playing golf. Okay, this is what's weird. Is it? There was only a select few people that knew Donald Trump's plans. This was an unannounced golf outing. This guy knew that this was going to happen. That tells you what. Somebody is behind all this. Okay, he sat in the bushes, camped out for 12 hours waiting for Trump to come on. It was either hole 5 or hole 6. And, he has an AK-47. This is a gentleman that has no job, has a house in North Carolina, Greensboro, has a house in Hawaii, has went to Ukraine and enlisted foreign mercenaries to fight the Ukrainian cause. And the question is, here's the part that stumps me. Okay. They saw him in the bushes with an AK-47. The Secret Service fired shots in his direction. He left behind everything, got in his car, and drove to, I want to say they arrested him maybe 30 minutes later or something like that. Okay, hold up a second. They arrested him 30 minutes later, during which time he wrote a letter of his failed assassination attempt against Trump. Now, I'm going to tell you something, Mike. I'm pretty good I'm pretty good, but I can't drive and write a letter at the
Well,
same
now I
time.
can. I can do it with my toes.
So, I mean, I
But
find that awful fishy. I find that fishy that people are not saying that more is involved in that. You know,
I got something fishy go along with that. How many people really know that there's a connection between the two shooters?
oh, I know there's a connection between the two shooters. I know that there was bank statements. Excuse my language here.
are you feeling okay?
I got stuttered up. Sorry.
Back in the hot one.
Get him some barbecue, hot sauce.
Give
Lloyd.
me a Mountain Dew. No, but there is a connection between the two shooters, Matthew Thomas Crooks, and Ryan Wesley Routh. There's a connection between the two. And there was an article that was published August 30th where they talked about bank statements where Matthew Thomas Crooks was paying Ryan Wesley Routh. So my question is, if this stuff is out there, why are the people high up not doing anything about it? Well,
They don't want to do
I
anything
add to
about it.
that. I add to that. Donald Trump this past week was in Long Island, New York, and they found explosives within so many feet of his rally that there were thousands of MAGA followers there, and the police there deemed it a non-threat. I can't understand that.
Well, the connection I was talking about though is between the two shooters was both of them happened to be in a BlackRock commercial.
Oh, that's true. They were, and then that company goes what today?
Bankrupt.
It goes bankrupt. You know, there's a lot of things that just don't add up.
Things that make you go,
If things that make, yeah. But you know, you just and as a person that studies politics,
Conspiracy theorist.
don't you call me that? I'm a truth seeker, baby. I've been seeking the truth.
You are a conspiracy realist. That's why
I
we're
am
here.
a realist because here's the thing: the truth will set you free. We as Americans need transparency. We need accountability. We need
Right.
all of these things to be revealed to us to let us know what's going on. Am I claiming dirty politics on the part of somebody? Maybe not who you think, but I think somebody is actively involved in this. It could be a major corporation. It could be a major uh, uh, financial asset to certain people. There's something going on, but it's almost like they want Donald Trump to die.
Eliminated.
Why?
Yeah.
What does he know? What does he know that scares them so much? Because every time somebody knows something, what happens to them?
They disappear.
Okay. Give you an example. A whistleblower from ABC News came out this past 2 weeks ago and stated after the debate that they had a signed affidavit that ABC had pretty much basically rigged the debate. I'm not saying they did. I'm just telling you what's out there. And that this whistleblower was going to come forward. Guess what happened to the whistleblower? Boom,
they
gone.
don't want to live anymore.
So if you know too much, Mike,
You get unlived.
you get unlived.
You moved to Mexico.
We're going back to what you said about Trump. He would have been a tyrant.
Train
He would have
station.
been a tyrant. He'd have done it in 2016. If he'd have done it then, would he still be a tyrant for that?
Well, I mean, we lived through, I would hope that a lot of people would agree with this, and I know a lot of people won't. They won't give due justice where due justice is, but most people had a lot of money in their pockets during the time of Trump. Now, does that mean Donald Trump is absolutely perfect? No. Is Joe Biden perfect? No. None of them are perfect. All
But
of them make
nobody's ever
mistakes.
stated
But
that
you're
either
never
one
going.
are.
You're never going to please 100% of the people 100% of the time because you're always going to have some policy that is policy directive that you're going to have a split on. People are for and people are against. Kind of like the Ukrainian war. You've got people that are dead set to support Ukraine. If they knew what was going on, but here's my thing. Once I think the truth comes out about Ukraine, and people find out what's really truly going on over there, what's been going on over there, and the mission and the objective of some of these political world leaders, I think they'll question themselves. And it's just like everything else. Like I said, there's two sides to every story, and some people tend to think that one side is favorable to them. They believe it wholeheartedly, and they don't even want to listen to the other side. You know, I don't think the other side's always wrong. I just believe sometimes their opinion is not exactly favorable to me.
Right. Well,
The
you're
thing
right.
of it is, I've been saying a long time. I say you can throw your labels away. I don't give a crap if you're Democrat, Independent, Republican, yada yada, whatever. It's good versus evil, and it's sane versus insane. If you can't tell the difference between what's right and what's wrong, then
Did you not see how insane my speech was earlier?
It was pretty
well, me
insane.
like that was pretty sane to me.
But you
I say
take
there's a lot of people right now just waiting for us to go off the air because I don't think they can rewind it back while we're on the air. That they're
Yeah,
just
as long as we're
waiting.
talking.
You know, that makes. I mean, me and Matthew wasn't old and needing to get some sleep. We'd sit here all night long just to make it miserable on them. You know, where they can't see it, then delete it just as soon as it's over.
you know, when we first started doing this program, we started talking about things, Mike, that some people don't even want to think about. You talk about, uh, and like I said, I don't preferably like talking about these issues, but I realize how relevant they are in our society. Pedophilia, it's happening. I mean,
It's happening
hold up.
more
Okay,
locally than
okay,
what you think
okay.
it is.
Give you an
To
example.
hear.
Give you an example. We had an incident. I don't know the true. I don't know all the ins and outs, and I don't know the whole story of it. So for me to speak totally on it would be unfair and probably unrealistic to certain. Be unfair to certain family members. But we had a situation where we had in Eastern Kentucky a judge get shot, and there was a lot of speculation about. I mean, things were coming out on the. I don't know what the truth is,
Yeah,
but it's sad.
I mean,
It's
it's a
sad.
sad situation because the sheriff and the judge were buddies, supposedly good buddies, and the sheriff shoots him. Now, there's rumors.
And that's what it is.
There's,
Rumors. We
there's,
can't
I can't,
substantiate it.
no, I can't. That's why one of the reasons it ain't been brought up yet is because, I haven't heard for sure, and it's not come out for sure the main motive as to what really happened there. I mean, we know there was an argument inside the chambers there, and then that led to the shooting. But,
It's sad.
some of the rumors that have came out, as what you were just talking
And those
about.
rumors may be 100%
Yeah,
false.
they
That's
may
why
be
you don't
false
want
and
to.
they may
That's why
be
you don't
true.
want
So
to say it until you're
yeah, that's
100%
what
sure.
I'm not going to come on here and say, hey, the rumors are true because
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't live in Letcher County, so I don't know that to be sure. But I mean, just as soon as we find out what they are, we'll talk about it on
But
here. But
you
I
okay?
mean, if they are true, then it's a very sickening situation, and a little bit more of a personal situation that goes along with that sheriff. But like I said, now until I know for sure, I really don't want to speak on it.
But we talked about when we first started doing this program, we talked about things like pedophilia being a major problem, human sex trafficking, how here in America 800,000 kids went missing every year, and around the world 8 million kids went missing every year. We mentioned a drug called adrenochrome. Adrenochrome. How it's believed.
Before he goes any further with that with adrenochrome, does anybody watching besides the people that know exactly what that is? Because I mean it's wild. If you know exactly what it is, then it's wild.
But the reason I say that is I go back to P. Diddy. I'm not sure if people are aware that P. Diddy wrote a 7-page book about adrenochrome. The name of the book was called The Adrenochrome Witch. And it was available on Barnes and Nobles for 2 days and then taken down. Here you've got P. Diddy, a musical performer, somebody that a lot of people listen to his music.
And there you go, guys. For the ones of you that think he's a conspiracy theorist, there's the article itself right there.
Yeah. So
Or what is it? An article
no,
or
it's a
song?
book. It's a
It's a
seven.
book.
It's a 7-page book.
Okay.
7-page book about adrenochrome. And I'm sitting here in the back of my mind thinking, what does P. Diddy? Why is P. Diddy writing a book about adrenochrome if he doesn't have any dealings with it? I'm not going to write a book about poetry unless I'm a what?
A poet.
Well, we would like you to give us the answer to the Bitcoin stuff.
Yeah, because you are a billionaire.
Bitcoin.
I mean, you are
Well,
on billboards in Chicago.
Somebody took over my identity and portrayed me as a Bitcoin entrepreneur, and I kept getting messages and messages and messages from people. You sell that Bitcoin? I'd like to buy that. And I'm like, listen, I am not into that cryptocurrency. Now, I will say this: in the last month, I have made some investments in crypto because I had some.
So that was you on the billboard.
But I had some financial friends tell me that you need to invest in this because if you invest in this, it's going to hit and it's going to hit big.
And let's do us a favor, and let's not tell what that is.
Let's not tell nobody.
Let's not tell what that is. We can't be letting
I
our
have seen
secrets
you
out.
write some pretty inspirational stuff on that other.
But now on your billboard that's in
But
Chicago,
I am
New York,
an
and Detroit.
inspirational person.
I was sharing
That guy made me look good
I was
because
sharing.
people would see me and say, "Man, you got some inspirational words," and I'm
You
like,
should see me
"Yeah."
when I read it that morning. I thought,
I
wow,
looked at her.
Matthew.
I'm like, that's not
I
Matthew.
shared it. Michael goes, that's not Matthew.
I'm like, you think he's got a billboard in Chicago? Just like, why are we not at Wrigley Field doing a show right now or something? If he's a Bitcoin billionaire.
But
it's
like I said,
Barbie
I think
does not know what adrenochrome is.
who does not?
Barbie.
You want to tell her what it is?
I'll let you. Well, I can. It don't matter to me.
Go ahead, tell her.
So basically, what adrenochrome is, let me pull up a picture here. Is this what I think it is? Who is P. Diddy with here? Harvey
Weinstein.
Some bigger guy. Okay.
He's got a lot of illustrious,
some bigger, famous
wealthy.
people. So basically, what
friends.
adrenochrome is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've understood is they basically torture a child, right? To the point that child's heart rate and everything is like the adrenaline of that child is so much. And then they drain the blood from that child, right? And then, let me go back to the live so make it even better. They drink it. And it also, I don't know, because I'm in Morgan County, Kentucky, not Hollywood, so I don't know, but there's like a lot of your Hollywood elites that are like 70 and 80 years old that look like they're 40. That's what's one of the key things that's been told is that's how they stay looking young like that, because if you drink it, it makes you continue to be young looking and everything. It's and you saw a lot of people in here talking
I just
about
find
how
it odd
sickening it is.
that that became an apparent issue in the 2016 to 2020 era. Trump's first initiative was an EO to protect children, and it was to attack people that were involved in human sex trafficking, sex exploitation, and things of that nature, and that is still a common theme. And all of a sudden, you're starting to see it in the news with these so-called celebrities. And I find it odd that all the friends of P. Diddy deleted all their Twitter pages and everything affiliated with him because they don't want any attachment to him. It's almost like they were part of it. They know what's going on, but they don't want implicated in it.
I know. They've changed the name of it, but there used to be an app that you can download, like if you had a smart TV. I can't think of the name of it now, but they had a show on there, and it was called Just a Tip, and it is a 3-part series talking about like the Hollywood elites and the big musicians and people like Diddy and a lot of those folks that was doing sex pedophilia. Epstein and all them was on there, and it's called Just the Tip. So, you may be able just to Google it or whatever and still be able to find it somewhere. But, it's very interesting. And you see a lot of your elites and a lot of your people that are more famous partaking in some events that, will make you look at these people a little bit differently. And, to the point where you think,
you can only hope
I can't watch them movies or that TV show.
You can only hope in the back of your mind that all of that is not true.
Well, that's what we hope.
But a lot of this stuff is coming out, and it leads you to believe that more and more of it is true. And like I said, Well,
actually, you sent me this right here. This is for Just a Tip. Part 1. It looks just like this, except it's got Jeffrey Epstein's head on it. It's got the I guess the iceberg here, and it's talking about the tip. And this one's got Diddy on it. But so
Diddy's on the tip here of the iceberg. But the question is, who's above Diddy?
Right.
Who is
Well, that's just like with
controlling the music
that's just
industry in
like with
America.
the Epstein. When they did the Epstein one in that part one of that series. Epstein was whatever, but Epstein was not the king of the world. He was just one of the people that got caught.
Okay,
You
and
know,
we heard many years ago about the Epstein so-called list, which we have yet.
right?
Ghislaine Maxwell went to jail for being a madam to Jeffrey Epstein. She basically solicited young females and served them up to Epstein and his friends. She went to jail for that, got a 77-year sentence, which was reduced to 20 years. She's serving in a federal penitentiary. But the question is, we've yet to see any names on the Epstein list. And, I know people say, well, Donald Trump was on the Lolita Express. He was there. Donald Trump was not on that island. I'm going to tell you why. Because had he been on that island,
Hell, we'd have had that list
that would
on
have been
day one.
that list would have been out day one.
You would have known who was on that list, and if Donald Trump was on that list, you would have known every single name. It would have been released instantly from the moment they found out there was a list.
But ain't him and R.F.K. Jr. thinking about, say they have no problem releasing that list if he gets elected?
We've been hearing it for a while that a lot of different people was going to release it, but now, wasn't it Kevin McCarthy? When he was put in as speaker, was going to release it, and he's there like a week and didn't, and they got rid of him or whatever. But I mean, I don't know. It's
Ken Boland here put something similar to adrenochrome in the Disney movie Monsters Inc. A113. A113. Look it up. A113.
well, I mean, she also brings up a really good point too with Disney. We brought up I think it was Mickey Mouse for his like a 50s or 60s version of Mickey Mouse that we showed on here a couple of years back. A cartoon, and it was like he was doing like horrible sexual things, even then. And it's like, so Disney, Disney's been showing people for years basically what goes on behind the scenes in Hollywood, and then or even Disney itself,
And they do have
like the
a
Disney
history.
theme parks or whatever, where there's been a lot of stuff happening at those theme parks. So I mean,
They have a history of hiring people that have been arrested and found guilty of sex crimes. They have a history of that. So that most people don't want to hear that. They don't even want to talk
Well, they don't
about
want to
that.
talk about, but now like
But
Diddy,
it's just something. P. Diddy is in the
Jeffrey
news, so
Epstein,
it's going to come out.
Ghislaine Maxwell, those are just people that got caught. People that just happen to be that they're more noticeable names that have been brought forward, and either was taken care of or currently in a jail cell or whatever. But I mean, there's a lot more of them, and a lot more that people I believe would be shocked about. If the list or even P. Diddy himself was to ever start, which there's a lot of videos and pictures, just like the one that we just had here, Diddy had these parties. There's Diddy
They
with
called
the
them
former,
freakouts.
there he is with
Was it
Mr.
freakouts or
Weinstein.
freakoffs?
I see Obama there. I see Oprah there. I see, I don't know who the guy is.
Harvey Weinstein.
No, right over here.
That is Jay-Z.
Jay-Z.
Prince William.
And wouldn't
It's an illustrious crowd of people. I mean, these are very, very
powerful, wealthy
individuals.
powerful people, from presidents to princes of England. And Weinstein was big in Hollywood. Like, he was one of the top Hollywood elites out there. Oprah's been around as long as I can remember. It's just scary. I mean, it's scary to think that these people.
It's funny how they're all tied to Epstein too.
And there's another guy that a lot of people probably will say, you guys are ignorant. You guys don't know what you're talking about. But I got a picture here of another guy at a Diddy party, and see if you recognize this handsome young gentleman. That would be none other than LeBron James. So it's like, there he is.
Well, I don't know if people understand the whole gist of what the P. Diddy parties are.
I don't know what they are.
Well, I mean,
don't really want to know what they are.
Well, the information I got and the information I read on it is that they have these parties and that they have P. Diddy had cameras all throughout his house. Every room had cameras, which means he is videoing these people, and they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing, and he catches them in the act, and he used that to blackmail them to do what he wanted them to do.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I've understood. How I've understood it too. I mean, it's I've only heard one. Well, at the time he was Puff Daddy. You know, the only one song that I can name, and I can't even tell you the name of it.
Missing you.
Missing You, the one that was what, for Notorious B.I.G. or
Yeah.
whatever. You know, that he wrote for him. That's the only song that I've ever heard of that I can say that the guy ever sung.
Well, most people were living 20 years ago. They'll remember that there was the West Side and the East Side rappers, and there was a
That was you, wasn't it?
no,
The East Side rapper?
there was a feud going on between Tupac and Notorious B.I.G., and the rest is history.
Yeah,
They
both of them. Nora says there's also supposedly tunnels underground at Disney for kidnapping children. You know, I've heard that too. You know, like a lot of kids will go missing at Disney, and then they got these
perfect
underground.
pedophile playground.
Well, I mean, while you had stepped out for a smoke break, that's what we were talking. That's what we were talking about. Is like, Disney movies from even back in the 50s and 60s, the early Disney movies, all the way up to current one. Kim had mentioned Monsters Inc., which is a big Disney movie, that came out years ago, a couple years back, and they all kind of give you a hint of
they have
some form of a pedophilia or
they
sexual
have
related
subliminal
stuff. And
messages.
knowing that children are going to watch this.
Kind of like when I was growing
Now,
up.
I don't remember that No Yeller.
Okay.
But
when I was growing up and heavy metal music came out, there was this theory that if you played heavy metal music backwards, there were subliminal messages in it. Well, a lot of these movies have a lot of this stuff in it that you may not necessarily recognize,
May not
but
pay
it's there.
attention to
Yeah,
it,
because you don't pay attention to
Might
it.
just be a logo.
Right.
Could just be a little symbol in the background or a logo that comes up on the credits.
And when you watch movies, when you watch movies and you watch a movie repetitively, you sometimes see details that you didn't notice the first time. I'm a big Forrest Gump fan, so when I watch Forrest Gump,
my favorite movie of all time.
Every time I watch it, I learn something new. I notice something new because I guess I've seen it so many times that I think, well, I don't even need to pay attention. But
so how's the saying go, Matthew? Life
it's like a box of chocolates.
is like a box of chocolates.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Because Mandela
It even
effect
rained
says
at
what?
night.
I can recommend a movie where they talk about subliminal messages. Matthew's probably seen it. The one with Roddy Piper, They Live.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've told you about that before.
Yeah. But, when I was growing up, it was heavy metal music. They basically didn't want kids listening to heavy metal because if you listen to it backwards, it had subliminal messages and it would have messages telling you to worship the devil. And
Well, if you ever pay close attention to some of your major singers in Hollywood and even a lot of your top politicians, now I don't know exactly what they are, but if you watch them closely, they'll do hand gestures. They'll do these little things with their hands. That,
so you're saying symbolism is their
or
downfall.
they'll put so many fingers or something. They'll make some little symbols, and you'll see it. That are like kind of might be in the background, but you'll see it. Like in particular, I remember watching Mitch McConnell speak one time, and he was going off on them, and then he turns around and looks, and one of them does something with their hands, and just instantly he just changes. And then changes the whole trajectory of where he was going with it. It's like they were saying, you keep going, it ain't going to be pretty for you, So they've got little symbols and stuff that they do with each other. But now, if you definitely with heavy metal, and a lot of that weird, crazy music, that they got out nowadays, like Cardi B and a lot of them, if you watch them, you'll actually see the symbols on the wall. You'll see them doing hand gestures with each other and stuff, wearing them on shirts.
Sean Conley says the Illuminati.
The Illuminati, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Was it Cardi B? It's her. There's another one.
Has anybody ever seen the episode of Jimmy Fallon where Jim Carrey's on there, and he absolutely goes crazy regarding the Illuminati and all these the symbolism that's associated with it. I mean, if you haven't seen it, look at it. Look it up on.
Yeah, I think I just saw it just the other day pop up on X. I always still
But
call
most
it
people
Twitter,
would
but
say if you believe in that stuff, you're what?
conspiracy theorist.
You know,
But it's like
there's too much stuff happening for it to be conspiracy. Too many people doing
been
it.
going on way too
Going
long.
on way too long. There's a lot of stuff.
I
And
mean,
like
you
I said,
just talked
and then you
about
got all this relevancy in the media now with P. Diddy and all this pedophilia. And, all these people are basically cutting ties with him and they don't want to be identified with him because they don't want to be implicated with
what
him.
was it 2018, 2019, the Epstein stuff was going on. When he was arrested, the final time, and all that, and then the jail thing. And now here's Diddy 6-7 years later. So what are they going to do? 6-7 years later, there's going to be another one, or they're just going to keep dropping them to the point to where, eventually it'll be out. Because if they, like you said, he's going to squeal like a pig, I believe. And when he squeals like a pig and starts releasing some names, that'll probably be as far as it ever goes.
He probably slip on
But-
a water soap and break his neck or something.
But I want everybody to take a look at that. Does that look like the same guy? Yeah, well, like I said, I've only seen Diddy a few times, here and there. And even, it's not like I really know
Never
the guy.
seen him in person. So.
But, so I don't know. But I can promise you that guy right there, those are not the same two guys. There's just too many.
Facial features are very different.
Very, very different. Which, once again, we're going to be called conspiracy theorists because of this picture. But, common sense states that's not the same guy. That'd be like putting me and Matthew side by side and saying which one's Michael. Yeah, we do kind of look alike, but twins, buddy. But seriously,
I'm the best looking twin, though.
You daggone right you are.
Thank you very much.
But you could tell by that picture that they're not the same guy.
Well,
one of them,
the true tragedy of all this is all the victims that have been abused, sexually molested, exploited at the hands of these,
Possibly murdered.
and possibly murdered at the hands of these people. That's the true tragedy. Is a lot of times people want to be in that crowd, not so much they want to be known, they want to be noticed, and it sometimes is not the crowd to be.
Makes you wonder about all those milk carton kids,
I remember that. I mentioned that to somebody a couple years ago and a couple months ago. I said, what's sad is I remember when I was an elementary school student.
And you'd crack open your milk.
And on the
There's
back of
always
that
pictures
milk,
of
it
it.
always had a picture of a child that was missing. And then all of a sudden, that just what?
It just stopped.
It just stopped.
I'll tell you what happened.
But if you do go to Walmart, you go like to Moorhead Walmart or certain Walmarts. I think Moorhead has them up front near the bathroom I could display. And I know like Mount Sterling and a few other ones, they have the bathrooms in the back. They have them displayed back there where a lot of missing kids. And it's like, if you remember when we did the story on Sound of Freedom, that's where they said they think a lot of those missing kids are. They're just being taken and, being trafficked out. And you never see them again. Or sometimes 30 years later, they escape from a house that they might. Wasn't there one in Cincinnati or
There's
somewhere?
one in Ohio where there
somewhere
were several girls that were being housed
that
there.
escaped somehow or another. They'd been there for years. And so, don't think that it isn't happening.
And don't think that behind the scenes, police forces across the country are not discovering human sex trafficking rings. I'm not aware. I'm not sure if people are aware of this or not, but Springfield, Ohio, has been in the news with Donald Trump basically stating that the Haitian community immigrants that were being brought there were eating dogs and cats, and I know he got a lot of negativity.
Oh, it still is.
But what I'm going to tell you is Springfield, Ohio, has recently been in the news because of, hold on just a second, an ex Wall Street Journal reporter uncovered a hub of a complex hidden human trafficking network in the tiny Rust Belt city. The story isn't about cats and dogs. Instead, it's about mules. Mules are people that are transporting these immigrants, these Haitian immigrants. Basically, what was happening is in 2019, an organization called First Diversity Staffing Group was shuttling vulnerable Haitian immigrants from Florida to Ohio via white Ford and Chevy vans. Once they got there, these immigrants were allegedly exploited for cheap labor by a local business owner, and they referred to this guy as King George. His actual name is George Tenn. He is the chief executive of the First Diversity Staffing Group Incorporated. So maybe the reference to Springfield was to bring attention to some of the human trafficking issues that were going on there. If it's going on in Springfield, Ohio, it's probably going on in a lot of communities around America.
We work with a woman. She said she had family that lives in Springfield still yet. She said it is.
She lived right out in Toccoa.
Yeah, Deb's got family that lives right there, in the area, and they're like, it's wild. It's crazy up here.
So
Well,
weird.
are you
But
aware
then
that
hear the mainstream media saying that it ain't real, and the stuff that you're
The
seeing and being
people that
told
live
is
there are going to tell you. I mean, it'd be like something happening.
somebody happening here, and we're
Yeah,
telling them,
somebody
hey,
trying to
we're
say-
seeing it. It's happening right
Yeah.
here, and then the mainstream media in Atlanta, Georgia, saying, oh, it ain't happening.
I'm gonna believe the people that actually live
Right.
there and that we know
Right.
that we have contacts with and stuff like that.
well, there's a large contingency of Haitians that have also been brought into Martha's Vineyard. You wouldn't think that, because you would think what about Martha's Vineyard?
The home of Obama.
The illustrious, elite,
Well, they
wealthy.
got mad there for a while because they were bringing in illegals, didn't they?
Yeah. And
But they're the ones that want them over here. So.
Well, I'll give you an example of what's going on in our country, and people are going to say that once again, Mike, I'm what?
A conspiracy theorist.
Well, I'll give you a name. His name is Luis Miguel Toro Gonzalez. I'll give you the name again, Luis Miguel Toro Gonzalez.
Are we supposed to be looking this up?
That's up to you. He's 28 years old.
He's currently on your screen.
He's currently on your screen. He was arrested yesterday at the border on charges of child rape in Ohio. Donald Trump wants that gentleman deported. Kamala Harris wants him to be a U.S. citizen. That doesn't make sense to me. If this guy is a child rapist, he needs to go before our judiciary system, and he needs to face the toughest penalty he could possibly get.
And this is why we need to vet people who are coming in. I mean, it's just, you would not allow just anybody walk in your house. You just wouldn't leave it open. Well,
You don't know what they're doing. You don't know what they have.
an open border is no border. They say they have an open border. That's no border. That would be like a no doors.
So,
in your house.
hearing
Just
the
let 'em go.
hearing the crime that this guy committed, and knowing that you've got two people to choose from in November, one wants him out of the country,
For me.
one wants him turned loose
Well,
in the
and
country.
I say this, I think Donald Trump would
So-
probably want him prosecuted to the full extent of the law. But what's happening is a lot of these illegal immigrants that are coming over here, and I'm not categorizing all of them, I'm categorizing some of them. You can't stereotype based on the incidents of one or a few.
If
And
I give you a bag of Skittles and I tell you that 30% of them are poisonous, are you going to eat any of those Skittles?
Probably.
He is, yeah.
I like Skittles.
he is, yeah.
You know, our-
My twin
You
brother.
know the way to a man's heart.
I'm telling you, you said food. Y'all
It's through his
said
stomach.
You said
As long as it ain't hot, we're gonna eat
That's
it.
exactly right. But I agree with you 100% with what you're saying.
You're
But
gonna check those
but
Skittles.
there are some people that are coming here that will abide by our laws, that will go through the process, that will do everything within the legal ramifications that are required, and those people deserve the opportunity to become Americans. However,
I agree with that.
the problem is, for every 10 that are really good, there are some that are doing things like this gentleman. And as a result of that, it categorizes all of them. And you've got 21 million unvetted in this country. we know 21 million. It could be more based on, we don't know how many.
No, that's
got
just what
out
they're
there
saying. Yeah, I mean,
It
we
could
don't-
be more than
That could be 50 million for all we know. That's
because if you
it
go,
ain't like they're standing
Okay.
down there counting them when they walk
well,
across.
well, and the sad thing is, Mike, there are areas where, like on the border, if you've ever seen the border and the border patrol and the ICE, and I admire what they do, and I feel like they're understaffed and underpaid, and probably overworked. But there are parts where they patrol the fence, and then you go 15 miles out into the countryside, and the fence just stops. It's not completed. They can just walk right across, and there's nobody there to stop them.
Right.
You know,
That's how you're going to escape and get into Mexico.
I mean, you're probably not going to throw the Skittles away, Matthew, but you are going to check them and see which one's going to
I asked them.
I'm going to vet. I'm going to check. I'm going to vet my Skittles. I'm going to check my Skittles. I'm going to even let some people do a taste test on those
You,
Skittles.
you
I
can.
get to choose the people that get to do the taste test.
I think I know some of them. But you could do a fact check on this one. Last night I talked to one of our local, legal foreign guys that are here.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, "You think you can get me across the border?" And he laughed at first. And I said, "No." I said, "Do you think you can get me across the border?" He just said, "Well, I don't know. I might be able to." I said, "Because if his country keeps getting any worse, I'm going to Mexico." I said, "I need to get across the border."
Well, there are
But
a
I'll
lot
probably end up staying here. I mean, Tijuana sounds kind of nice, or Cancun.
Oh, there's some really nice areas.
That sounds nice, but
and then there's
I
some
don't know.
parts of Mexico that are extremely dangerous, just like America.
Tijuana might
know,
have been one of the
Yeah,
dangerous.
there's some really nice places in America, but there's some dangerous places in America as well.
Cancun, I know they say is really nice.
We went there this summer.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was there this summer, Cancun. It was a little smaller than I expected, but population was up there, though. No, Katrina says that dude there that we was talking about a minute ago needs castrated, which is probably a little easy compared to what he really needs.
Well,
he needs to have something.
The laws in this
need
country.
to have like about 10 million red piss ants poured all over him and let him lay out in the middle of a desert.
You are in a really bad mood tonight.
Well, now I have to try to keep. I asked you earlier. When they went on a smoke break, I said, "Do you think you're going to be able to follow that?" And you said, "I don't know, but I'm going to try." So,
I have tried.
you
I
know?
have tried. I gave a valiant effort, but I don't know. I don't think I've touched it. That's okay though. I'm all right. Second fiddle's okay to me. I can be Robin and you can be Batman.
Bobby
I
said,
got-
if you ain't first, you last.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Oh, I get to be Batman tonight. Yes.
You are Batman.
I get to be Batman.
But it ought to be interesting to see what transpires over the next.
That doesn't surprise me. She got a warning pop up on her screen when she posted that. That doesn't surprise me a bit. Facebook, so
She posted what?
that guy should be castrated.
Well,
okay, so let's just let him molest children, and that should be fine. I mean, is that what Facebook wants you to say?
They make a drug for that though. It's called a lead pill.
But
you probably got
that individual is not the only one that has committed hideous crime in this country.
No,
there have been multiple murders that have taken place. Too many by people that were once denied, but yet snuck in and were forced to go back and then got back in again and undertook crimes against Americans. Those crimes could have very well been alleviated and prevented, and family sorrow would not have had to have happened.
Yeah, he's not getting nowhere near me tonight, but need to get some more hot stuff.
I'm sorry, I tried. I didn't execute.
Maybe next week we can have some bananas and pour hot seasoning sauce.
You are trying to kill me. But let me say this, Mike. I'm not. I talk about things that are happening.
That's another thing I was going to bring up tonight.
There's a new constitutional amendment that is being proposed in Washington right now. U.S. lawmakers plan for a possible mass casualty event, proposing a constitutional amendment to replace members quickly and change various lines of secession in a national crisis.
Wow.
What do
So
they
they're preparing
know?
for something.
What do they know that
Sounds like
we
HR.
don't know?
Well, just like John says here, 6 weeks from today, we find out if we get affordable groceries or World War III. So, and that's true. You know,
Preach it,
He's
brother,
right.
preach it.
he is right. So, you know,
He's right.
hey, I need you to do me a quick favor, though. Cam Bush just joined. I need you to give him a shout out. He's one of your biggest fans.
Cameron Bush, we miss you, pal. We wish you nothing but good health and safety. I'll see you when you get home.
Absolutely. Well, he watched us do the hot stuff, so he knows how crazy
Cam?
we really are.
Yeah, he checked on you guys. to
Yeah,
see
he knows how
you're doing.
crazy
That's
and
it.
dumb we really are. Do you think me and Matthew look like twin brothers, Cam? Because I think we do. I think he's the prettier one, right? So,
Gosh,
oh man,
it ought to be interesting. I say it's going to heat up in October. October's going to be red.
so you're telling me my face got red tonight for nothing?
I remember a movie I watched when I was younger. It was called Red
Red
October, baby.
Yeah.
It's going to be red.
I also remember a movie I watched called Red Dawn. And
Well, I'd say about every American family knows that now.
Might be seeing that one too.
Yeah. I got a feeling things in October could get really, really red hot. And you might find out that maybe me and you were what?
Right all along.
And all I want you to do, you don't have to say anything other than look at me and say, you were right. You don't have to say you're
Let
sorry,
me ask you a
even
question.
though I will make sure you will. I'm looking right at you, folks. Some of you are going to say you're sorry when the truth comes out. You're going to have to eat you crow, because we on the verge of the
Hey, I like
precipice.
hunting crows.
And you better get your popcorn. You better get it popped. Trump got his yesterday. We getting close. And when the crap hits the fan, just remember, I'm on the good side.
Would you eat something called the toe of Satan?
Hail to the no. And excuse my language, but no. Who said
I
that?
got a hot challenge for you and Perry. The sucker called the toe of Satan.
No.
I have no idea what that is.
I would say that would be hotter than hot.
It sounds too scary.
That is accurate.
I don't know what it is,
That'd be sizzling.
but I'll leave it up to him.
No.
Because the last time I left it up to him, I got suckered into doing that down there.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
And
Thanks a lot.
may not have to let him make no more decisions. Before we get off here tonight, Matthew had wanted me to let you guys know that there is going to be a special this week. She said it's bad. There's going to be a special this week at KFC. It is the Taylor Swift special. So if you guys don't mind to go pick that up, you're going to get 2 bony thighs, 2 small breasts, and a left wing for $8.95 at your local KFC. So, and if your local KFC does not cover that, please make sure to let them know that you saw it here
Tell
on the
them
show.
you want the Taylor Swift special.
And you want the Taylor Swift special. Take a screenshot of that while while it's up there. Here, I'll put it back up here so you can take you a screenshot, take that to your local KFC, and tell them that you saw it on this show. Maybe you'll even get a 10 or 15% discount.
I doubt it.
Then again, you might not. But at least you might get through out. But at least we tried.
Exactly right.
Oh man,
she came out and endorsed Kamala Harris.
Wasn't surprised.
And it's not a surprise. It's not. A lot of people do not. There's a big craze of people that like Taylor Swift.
I saw
Then there's a lot of people that just don't want anything to do with her.
Well, I'm going to tell you something you didn't know. Mark Carpenter has a poster of Taylor Swift on his wall.
What you do? Target practice with it?
Well, I did see him taking some target practice the other day. So that might have been what it was out there. I ain't quite sure. Might be having some dart challenges or something. I don't know.
There's been a lot of stuff come out on her about her.
Barbie, that hurt.
Her and her love,
Barbie
her
said they
lover
would
boy,
add 15%.
her lover boy, her boyfriend for the Kansas City Chiefs. There've been a lot that come out here lately about them. Kelsey, what's his name? Travis Kelsey.
Travis Kelce.
Well, I did see a meme too that said, "Sorry, Taylor. You've already told us you have bad choices when it comes to men. We won't trust you on your president."
Well, here's the funny thing about it. He's like the leading whatever he is, on that team. But the quarterback of the Chiefs and his wife are on the other team. So it's like, I don't know. She sits with Patrick Mahomes. They're on the other side of the spectrum. Mahomes' wife has been a big, big supporter recently of Donald Trump. So it's like, and then she sits there at the
I find it odd that Tim Walls' entire family
is endorsed Trump.
I'm still waiting for. I'm still waiting for Joe Biden to come out and endorse Trump. I got a feeling that's going to happen.
I hope he does. That'd be awesome. We're going to do a very, very special edition show. If it's 9 o'clock for 30 minutes on a weird Thursday night, we would have to do a show.
I made a bet with a guy that he would come out and support Donald Trump. I made a bet.
I did too.
So I've got about another week. We'll see. I may lose it, but it is what it is. He resurfaced yesterday. He was in the public's eye yesterday for the first time, and he introduced. He was supposed to introduce the Prime Minister of the Republic of India, and he got up there and he said, "Who am I supposed to introduce next?" He couldn't even remember who he's supposed to introduce. I feel sorry for old Joe, but I also miss old Joe. I miss him.
I miss him. I wish he would have waited a little closer, then we'd had something else to do. I kind of miss the old dog. He was something else. I mean, I don't know.
But he got out.
No, I'm not going to make you guys sit through that one.
He got ousted by his own members of his party, and a coup within his own party. And I'm going to tell you, I don't think he likes Kamala Harris that way. It wouldn't surprise me a bit if he didn't come out and endorse Trump. I've said that for weeks.
AOC's not a fan of hers either. Yeah. She was mad that they
Who?
AOC.
Yeah, she's a Looney Tune too.
I got a bet if he endorses Trump, I get some moonshine. You got to tell me,
Yeah. Well, what happens if you don't? You got to take the moonshine.
No, he's gonna laugh at me. I said,
okay. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if he did it. Wouldn't surprise me a bit.
Yeah, I did that.
And I know people say, "Well, he isn't within his mental capacity to know what he's doing." Well, hey,
neither are we. But
talk for yourself.
Let me see if I can pull that up here.
He was mentally had the capacity for the last 3 years.
Oh, I agree with that. But that's why I brought up the issue earlier. If you received 81 million votes, there's no way on God's green earth they pull you out of the Democratic nomination. If you got more political votes than any man in history, that is not happening. They're not running.
So if you think the conspiracy theorists
pull you out of the Democratic nomination, if you got more political,
why is he talking on there?
In history, that is not happening.
Hang on a minute. We got Matthew. So if you think the conspiracy
theorists, the Bitcoin king.
What is going on?
Oh my goodness, he sounds
I can't get it off here.
Somebody has taken over your computer.
Hang on a minute. What is going on? I'm like hearing us repeat. I can't get it off here. Something's happening. Okay.
Now we're
I was hearing us.
Technical difficulties.
All right, so let me try something a little different here, guys. I was trying to bring up the actual video, and I'm like, that just don't sound like Matthew. Well, I know Matthew's getting old, but no, he don't sound that bad, does he?
Like Joe Biden. Joe Biden sounds like me now.
All right, let's see if we can get this up here now. This is what Matthew was talking about. We're already being called we were crazy, and people are dying for me to get off the air so they can go back and listen. What does that say? Switchercast. Hell, I don't know what that means. All right, let's see if we can get you over here. Here it is.
I want to thank you all for being here. And now, who am I introducing next? Who's next?
Wasn't that the you had something?
Yeah.
Distinguished guests, the Prime Minister of the Republic of India.
I want to thank you all for being here.
Who's next? So
Oh, Joe, I miss him.
I miss him, man. I really do.
What did that Goldberg say at one time? Who's next?
Next. I miss Joe.
I do too. I wish he'd come back and see us. Let's see here. Oh hell, I can't show that on here. That happened at a Trump rally, but I can't show that. Get banned for sure. There's P. Diddy and Obama, as you'd imagine. I've been wanting to show everybody this one.
President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did. And as a result, America's taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world. The first time this century.
What?
But let's understand.
So where the fuck are we right now?
Well, I mean, seriously, that looks like guys in a war zone to me. So,
But when you don't get fact checked, what?
so where are we?
Oh, fact checking. Started coming out.
Look at this guy. Popcorn.
She says it's the best.
Is that the best?
She says it's the
If it
best.
is, I'll be in Washington, D.C., hopefully in the Oval Office. I'll send for popcorn.
Appreciate that.
Sounds like a pretty bad guy, don't he? Hell, I like popcorn.
Love popcorn.
Here's Stone Cold Steve Austin on the Hot Ones challenge. This guy here, I reckon, made a threat on Donald Trump. Said he wanted him in a body bag. They've got him arrested. This is where he belongs. This is where he belongs. Anyway,
Been a pretty interesting night.
did you think it was really interesting? Did you like the speech that I gave earlier that so many people are waiting for me to get off the air so they can go back and watch? Please be the first to contact me if you get fired because of that.
Why would I get fired?
Because there'll always be a job for you at Danny O'Shea Chevrolet.
Thank you. Thank you. I could be a good car salesman. I could BS with the best.
So,
I could sell a living.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just kind of feel like after that earlier, I'm going to be able to go home tonight and I'm going to lay my head down on my pillow with a big smile on my face and fall asleep because it's like now I finally got that off my chest. I finally got to say that. I finally got to tell the people that I hear you. I finally got to tell the people that, who I support, who I feel, needs to know, needs to have a voice. And I don't know. Like I said, we'll get it all figured out. But it seems like Wanda Davis must have enjoyed that. Because, she keeps saying it's about time to bring things to light. I was too red-faced at the time and to be able to see some of the comments, but I was trying to read them as I was going. But don't think I'm done. I just want people to know that. I'm not out of it yet. I still got I think John said it earlier, there's 6 weeks to go from today. So, I still got 6 weeks to go before, one way or the other, win or lose. But, I'm still not going to stop fighting for everybody. I'm going to fight for you. I'm going to stand up for you.
I'm all right.
Stand up for you, not you. You. Because you're not supposed to be here. You were banned from the 9 shows.
I'm gonna throw you a piece of candy.
Well, if you're going to be in the parade this week, you don't need to be throwing nothing because you missed a pretty big old boy sitting over here and missed us. But no, I'm just going to say, guys, if you do, of course, the ones of y'all that watch that live, you know what it says. For all you sillies that are sitting here waiting on me to go off the air so you can go back and watch it, I'm just saying, don't approach me in public about it. don't try to call me. Don't try to text me because it's right here. It's out in the public. I'm not going to talk about it, because you probably won't like me if you do approach me in public. So, about that whole issue over there. Now, Herdman Field, you want to talk to me in public? You want to continue to to go on about that? I mean, we'll discuss that. We'll get the petition to you. We got a paper copy, the electronic signatures link. We'll do everything we can to help with that. I'm not going to stop fighting for that, and I'll continue to be a voice for everybody in our community and our county, and that's what I'm here to do. So don't think that I'm turning my back on you, win or lose, because I got your back. Has anybody got anything to say out there? I think they're all asleep. You got anything?
No, not yet.
No, just keep your eye on the prize.
Oh, I'm watching the prize because my $600,000 is going to be hitting pretty soon. Yours, a little bigger, but all right, guys. Well, let's see. This weekend is the Sorghum Festival. Like I said,
Be safe.
Be safe. Yeah.
Enjoy your time here at the festival. I know they're giving rain, but hopefully between now and then it'll miss us. Get out and enjoy your time. What's her name? Susie Bogus will be on the main stage down in the park on Saturday night. She was a big time country singer back in the '90s. Got a lot of big hits. So definitely go check that out if you can. Get
That's
you
our
some
buddy
song.
Grant
Sorrell.
Grant, he's done a really good job bringing a lot
He's
of
had
acts
the
this
Kentucky Headhunters. The very next weekend, the Kentucky Headhunters will be here for the Live on the Licking.
Then you got Mike and Matt on the Licking.
And then you got Mike and Mac, which I think that's like November the 30th. So, I mean, there'll probably be like a snow shower or something
We're
like that.
our number one hit. We're drunk and we can't get up.
We're going to be singing our number one hit. You see Matthew do this. But anyway, guys, everybody have fun at the festival this week. Take care. Be safe out there. The roads are probably slick. I think it's rained the whole time we've been here. But everybody have a good week, and we'll talk to you guys on the next one.